Welcome to the Gangcast, aka the Games and Not Games podcast. I'm Jen Garcia, and joining me, as always, is Isaiah Smith.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm tired, but I'm okay. We're good.
Yeah.
I think we're moving and grooving. We're coming back from
My neck.
Facts. We're coming back from Chicago. Awesome couple days, which I'm sure we'll get into. But I'm tired.
Yeah,
I'm tired. I don't know about you.
Everything is hard to do. My neck feels better. Like, my neck hurt the day after we got back. I'm like, what could this be? Was it sleeping like 5 hours on 2 different planes in
facts.
a chair?
Facts.
Was the fact that like the first night we slept, like sometimes we let our cat into our room to like sleep in our bed, and we were all just like bundled together. It was so cute. It was so cozy, but it was not ergonomic. Like,
No,
my head was
wasn't.
all like tilted. Also, you know, there's a video version of the podcast if y'all want to check it out. But like, my head is large. Like, I don't know how much it comes across on camera. Proportion to my body, my head is huge. So it's like, I have this big lumpy head I'm carrying around all day. It got better after like the first day. But yeah, I'm in the mood of everything is hard to do. It's like, I don't want to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I can't be bothered with anything. Like, even just like,
Yeah.
it's like, I guess I gotta stand up. It's like, I'm just like, everything annoys me a little bit. And I keep going back to it in my mind. I don't know what your attitude's been, but I've just been repeating to myself in my head something along the lines of you're going to be miserable anyway. You can be miserable and productive. Like, just, you know, it's like, okay.
Man, no.
It's like, F it. I'm just going to.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
I'm not going to feel good. I'm just going to start trying to do some things.
I mean,
Because at least then the stuff will be done.
That's not a bad motto. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely gonna keep that with me. No, I for me it's more. I guess it's very similar to your just don't. For me, it's getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that we have another trip still coming up in like a couple weeks. But it's like we had PAX. PAX is awesome. Loved the trip. Getting to and from it kind of just throws off your daily like schedule, right? Cool. We got back from PAX. We had a couple, like a week or 2 or something like that, and then we had the Chicago trip.
Mm-hmm.
The Chicago trip throwing the daily schedule off again. And then another 2 weeks we have another trip, and that's going to throw off the daily schedule. And I feel like after that is when I can really like double down into getting back to normal.
And it's just the holidays also.
Yeah, but we're probably going to stay here.
I know, but the holidays kind of like. Puts a wrinkle in like the day-to-day a little bit.
I don't think it does really. At least not for me, not for like us.
For me.
Really?
Yeah, just like the time off. Like, it's like,
Okay,
I
guess I
find
can
when
see
you
that,
take
sure.
time off, the more you take time off, the more you have to be like
The hack is to
on
never
it.
take time.
Yeah, you have to be on it about the time that you're on, which I think is good. I think it's good to learn how to be on and learn how to be off and learn how to switch from on and off, or like all good skills, but they're all skills I don't have. Also, spoilers for the future, I've decided that I am like, we talked about this like episode 2 or something, like whatever episode we talked about the Gilkey book, the start finishing book, and like reading self-help books in general.
Yeah.
I read that Marie Kondo book, right? Don't laugh. I see you holding back laughter. And like anything else, I'm like, I'm just gonna do what she says, and then when I decide to make it my own, then whatever. Like, what's I'm gonna lean back off of? I am Marie, girl. I'm done with your like empty all your bags all the time, because like, and this is a very privileged position to be in, to get to travel at all is always really nice. Like, some people don't get to do that at all, so I kind of hate complaining about it. But I'm tired of I have not honed in on like the packing. Like, it's gotten a lot better. I feel like, okay, I kind of know my outfits. I've gotten to know my wardrobe more. I've built my wardrobe better. Like, stuff's going good, but I'm tired of like taking out my toiletries, doing whatever. I think I'm going to start doing just what you do, which most people do. I'm like, I'm going to buy a suitcase deodorant, like just, I don't want to say doubles of everything, because that's kind of like Marie's point. She's like, then you end up having doubles of all this stuff because you have stuff everywhere. Like, you have like 8, this pens is a less dramatic version, but like, why do you have 20 pens and you have 3 pens in a desk and 3 pens here? Like, just have a place for your like 1 or 2 and then just call it a day, and then you'll know where things are and you don't keep rebuying stuff and da-da-da-da. But yeah, I'm done. I hate having to like just pack all those little things, and then I also then have to immediately unpack them because then I use them because they're my only thing. So I'm just gonna go with like, we're gonna have travel stuff.
Yep.
And you know what?
That's how you do it.
I'm sorry, Marie. I don't know, fan of the show. I'm sure she's listening in tears. Or she's probably not because she's like, you know what? It's fine. Like, she's kind of chill. She's chiller than she seems.
This podcast did not bring her joy, so there's no way we made the cut.
Yeah. She like bounced out 3 episodes ago, but.
No, that is like 100% the way to do it in my book. Especially like if you... For things like that, right? I'm not gonna have a second electric toothbrush.
I was literally thinking of the
keep
toothbrush.
In my suitcase. No, I'm gonna pack the ones, or maybe I'll have like a manual just toothbrush that I keep in there.
I do have one of those that I think I should probably put back in there.
But like, yeah, deodorant I don't know, costs like $2.99. It's like, yeah, sure, I'll have an extra deodorant.
Try like $7.99.
Even then, it's still like way cheaper than a $40 thing that you keep a double of, and I don't know. It makes it. It's hey, my thing is. If I ever got on a flight, I overslept or something like that, I didn't pack things that well or whatever. Like
You're
that.
on the run, just like
I'm on the run. I gotta grab my go bag. It's like, well, am I gonna be mad that I don't have deodorant when I really want deodorant? Probably. I'm already on a cramped plane or I don't know, a rickety bus that's going across country or something. It's like at least let me have the niceties of fresh armpits. Like I don't know, like is that too much to ask? So yeah, I say just double up there.
I guess the thing that has held me back too is every now and then, and it's actually not even that rare. Like sometimes I have trips that are 1 day or 2 day trips that might not require like, shampoo or something. Cause I wash my hair every like 2 days or something, like 3 times a week or whatever is my wash frequency. So I think in my head, I'm like, well, then I have to like kind of keep fussing, but that doesn't really come up that often. And also it's a small enough packaging. Especially the way I do my shampoo now and stuff, where I just have the magnetic little holders.
Cool. Yeah,
I love those. They're so good. What is it? Cadence, I think is the brand. Yeah, like I think it's time for me to build like a nice little kit, and I can just have that already in there, and then I don't have to do as much. And like once I get these packing cubes, which I don't know what may do an episode on you as the goodologist and your methods or whatever for like helping me find like good stuff, but. I'm so excited. I don't know how much those are. I haven't looked at what you linked me for the packing cubes, but I'm so excited. So like once I get these cubes, it's over for y'all. Because I already have a nice suitcase, which I never had. Not that I had like horrible suitcases, but I just never had like gone to a store or an online retailer like this is the suitcase I picked out. Like it's kind of like, oh, I need a suitcase. So my dad gave me something, or like a friend gave me an old suitcase, and I'm like, well, okay, I'm not picky about it. It's a suitcase. Who cares? But then I'm like, what if I did care? And now it's like, it's got all like the straps and the compartments and everything. And like, it's not the right size, but TSA has not said anything about it. So
TSA doesn't care.
We'll figure it out. If it's good enough for TSA, it's great for me. But yeah, we'll do a whole thing on that at some point, I think. Would be a fun topic. But for now, ready to get into games?
Let's talk games.
Okay, so this episode is Chicago themed in honor of the trip we just did. Chi-Town Till It Goes Down. I also, what was it? DJ Sound. DJ Sound, if you're listening to this, I've been wanting Chi-Town Till It Goes Down Volume 2 for the longest. I messaged you on Facebook 3 years ago, and it was Thanksgiving, and you said you'd get to it and send me the link, and you never did. I want that mixtape of that house music mashup. It's like one of the favorite things I've heard. I can play it in my head, but I want to download it onto my phone or whatever.
That's so funny.
DJ Sound, I know you're listening. You're out there still working. Shout out to doing your art, Anyway, the gaming scene in Chicago for us, this kind of looked like just hitting up an arcade, hitting up a game store, and like looking at other like nerdy shops. So let's start with Headquarters Beercade. This is a chain, essentially. Headquarters is a chain. They have, I think, they might have 2 locations in Chicago, but I always went to this one, which is the one in River North, which is like kind of like near the Loop, sort of. I know it because I went to Walter Payton College Prep, which is a high school located near there, and I would hang out up there sometimes. I forget if they have like a 21 plus. Maybe I had to wait till I was older to go there, but I was like in that area generally. And this was the first barcade I ever went to in my whole life.
Oh, okay.
So like, old like lore that I forgot to mention when we were in there. And I was so disappointed when I went to other barcades and realized that you have to pay for the games in other barcades.
Yeah.
All the games at Headquarters are free except for the basketball.
Yeah, the basketball and there might have been like one other one.
Yeah, like maybe like one other one.
Which honestly, that was surprising to
darts.
me. Yeah. That was surprising to me. Every barcade I've been to, you get a drink, And then when you get a drink, you also have a little token machine in the corner or something. You can, throw your $5 in, get like 20 tokens or whatever it is, and that's how you play the game. Now, most of the games are like one token. They're, fairly reasonably priced, but never free. And that just makes so much more sense. It's like, well, I don't know, I'm getting the drinks anyways. Like, why? I can understand. I don't know. Is there like do you think places just have a fear? Like, oh, someone's just going to come in here. They're not going to buy drinks. They're going to play our games, wear and tear on the machines, and then dip. And it's like, well, how often is that happening?
Maybe. Or maybe, I mean, you always make more money by charging than not, I imagine. Like, maybe it's not that much of a pull for people. I also think a lot of people that go to beercades, and I don't know, it's tough to even ask like y'all who are listening to the show, because I think if you're listening to the show, you're already like a more hardcore nerd than other people. Like, I wonder,
Sure.
For regular people, when they go to a barcade, I don't know, they probably are only playing like a couple. It's kind of like a casual thing anyway, so I don't think they're like going to like go ham.
You know what it is? Did your aunt ever go?
I don't know. I have to ask her if she went.
Oh man, we should have. We need to follow up with
for
her
how much she played with her friends.
Yeah. Because your aunt doesn't strike me as
no, she's not a gamer at all. She's like, we want somebody to do that isn't eating, which I think is really valid. Yeah, I don't know, but I never. I'm not a business owner. I don't want to be too judgy, but I always just felt like, because the games are always so cheap anyway, I'm like, no, I don't want to do all this. Like, I don't make a 1 drink minimum or something. I got to figure it out. Like, I don't want to have to put my little tokens in.
Yeah.
We played a couple games there. We did pay the money to play the basketball game, because that's kind of
always fun. It's a staple for us.
Yeah, it's kind of like a tradition at this point.
Yeah.
We played one of my favorite games. Was it Buck Hunter? Big Shot Buck?
Yeah, Big Buck Hunter, I think.
I forget what this
Something
game
like
is. Yeah, my favorite game that I don't know the name of.
Yeah.
Who could forget the classic game, Big Buck Hunter? Yeah. Double buck. It's like you shoot the deer. I wouldn't do that in real life, but it's cute.
It's cheat because I feel like it kept registering that I would shoot the does or like the moose or something.
The meeseses.
It would keep registering that I shot these animals that weren't deer. And I'm like, no, the only thing near me was a deer. How can I hit this duck in the background or something? The duck section, though, was like actually pretty fun, because it was like basically just, if you picture Duck Hunter, like the Nintendo game, it's like that kind of thing.
High res Duck Hunter.
Yeah, high res, photorealistic Duck Hunter, where it's like ducks are just flying upward and you just spam shots at them. That was fun. That was really fun. But like, I like the Buck Hunter games. They're always fun. I like, man. As far as gun arcade games go, do you do Buck Hunter over Time Crisis?
No, Time Crisis is way better. Buck Hunter is like kind of whack, but I like that it's whack. Like, there's something charming about, like, I feel like only at the arcade is it kind of exciting to play a game that's like, is this a good game? Like, I don't know, I'm having fun. Like that.
It's more slow and methodical, though.
Yeah, and like I think a lot of our old arcade games, and people that really like know the arcades, I'm sure would talk about the fact that just games were made to be like, people talk about like people trying to get money out of games now.
Man,
back in the day, like the point was like that they're hard and difficult, almost like video game crane machines. We're like, we want you to pour money into this, we want you to struggle at this, so you had to get really skilled in a way that maybe speaks more to the fact that the game is like maybe kind of too slippery or weird. Sure. Like there's like I forget the name of it, but that beer game where you're like serving up beers.
Tap room?
Yeah, something like that.
It's something like that, yeah.
I'm like trying to find the arcade machine name. But like that game's pretty challenging to me. I'm sure if you're good at it, I'm sure it's like much smoother if you like know the feel for it. But like how often am I actually like playing that? Yeah, it's a little hard for me to Google for it. Same with Paperboy. Like Paperboy, which I can't believe you wouldn't play Paperboy. You missed out.
I don't think I did. It was Tapper.
Okay, Tapper,
I don't think I missed out. Having watched you play Paperboy, so I know I didn't miss out.
It's fun because you have the little bike, and you get to like maneuver. I was better at it than I used to be, so it's like we're getting it together. I got like a couple houses,
Yeah.
There's
some situations in that game that were pretty funny. There's like a burglar who I presume you can throw a newspaper at and stop him from breaking into the house, maybe for some extra points. There's like 2 random guys fighting that you just like come across. And when you hit one of them and then the other guy was like, oh yeah, I won the fight. It's like, no, a third party intervened.
There's like someone breakdancing on the street in that game. It's just like a fun, fun time, Paperboy. Are there any other ones that you like go to all the time when you're in there? Like, what are you looking for when you're roaming the arcade floor?
If time allows, I'll try to do like a Galaga. Sometimes you'll get a Galaga. Sometimes you'll have a like I don't know what you call it, but it's like the kind of game where there's like a marble and you have to like tilt it upwards.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what that kind of game is called, but I really like it. It's like you control like the two ends of a rod, and then the goal is to get the ball all the way to the top of the
ice cold beer
display. I think that's one of them.
Yeah. But it's like a genre.
Yes,
like
yes.
Basically like those games that are
It's
like
almost
mechanical.
like dexterity game. Yeah, mechanical dexterity games. Those are always fun. I'm really not great at them.
There's another one I really like. This one I will not be able to find the name of without like really hard Googling it. But it's like a bunch of steel ramps, and you're like lifting up the ramps to like move the ball along.
Yeah.
That was like I think one of my first times playing a mechanical arcade game. Yeah, they're really fun. They're like a very simple fun. It like kind of gives like ball and cup.
Yeah. Oh no, a little bit, right? It does.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from like as a kid, I don't know, we would always go to like some random flea market kind of thing, and my dad would always get like the little handheld like marble maze games where it's like, oh, you have to avoid the holes and get the ball to the end kind of thing. And so that's just like a bigger arcadier version of that. And so I'm like, oh yeah, I like this.
I like those
this
too. Or like I bought you that weird thing that you saw on TikTok. It's like that. Remember I bought you that? It's like a marble ramp maze.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of a similar concept.
Yeah, it's like a mousetrap-y kind of, but there's not like a game to it. It's just like the act is getting the ball from one end to the other.
Yeah, I guess you could gamify it if you did like
time trial it with your
or if you
sibling or something.
If you're just like trying to do it in one go without like messing up, like you don't put any
lives.
You put no checkpoints, you know. It's like you can kind of gamify that. But yeah, what'd you think of like Headquarters Beercade overall? Where does it stand in the pantheon of other beercades?
Yeah, no, it was cool. It's definitely up there, right? Again, and honestly, I think just having the free machines really goes a long way. The atmosphere was cool, but we went there as soon as it opened.
Yeah.
Like time, just the way that the time worked, we just kind of got there as soon as they opened. Like really, like a little bit before they opened.
I was so embarrassed because I'm like, they're gonna think that we're like desperate to go.
Yeah, like man, they really need a drink at 4 p.m. But like so I imagine if it was like packed, there was people there. It could be like it was spacious enough that I feel like it could house a good amount of people without being like a crowded barcade, if that makes any sense. Like we went to Emporium in San Francisco, which every time I've gone there, it's been packed, and every time it's packed, it's a clusterfuck trying to like get on a game that you want to get on or like have any kind of fun. Really, it's
I
like,
will say that's a good point because it's like it's very spacious.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of other barcades feel like it is a bar that they stuffed a bunch of arcade machines in.
Yes.
And this feels like an arcade that they placed 2 bar stations in.
Yes. I think the layout, the like organization of things is really well. All of it's really good. There was a meetup there that I got mistaken for some guy.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and you like were part of the meetup. Yeah, but like we got there and they're like, are you here for the meetup? And we're like, oh no, we're just like here. Like, okay, sorry. And then somebody came up and said like
5-10 minutes later,
it
was like,
hey, are you Isaac or something? I don't know.
yeah, and it was also a name that was like close enough to mine. I was like, do I know you? I was like, what is going on here? But yeah, no, and we never found out what that meetup was. We should have asked before we left.
Yeah, but then it was also funny because like later like more people came. I'm like, oh, they're probably here for the meetup, and like one of the guys was black, and I'm like, do you think he just thought you were that black guy?
1,000%, yeah, 1,000%. That's who he thought I was.
And it's like, hey, maybe you never met in real life, so that's like less.
I'll give you the pass.
That makes it like less like suspicious. But I'm like, oh yeah, I think that was supposed to be you.
Yeah,
did not look like Isaac.
No, not at all. But.
Yeah, that was funny. What else to say? Oh, last thing I want to shout out about Headquarters is, we'd been walking around like all day. So like, I'm like, I really like didn't want a beer. I only would have gotten one if we like were going to stay there for a while. Like, oh, let's stay and like, hang out, get a drink or something. So like, I just got a water because I'm like, I just am thirsty. And then you got a soda. And the dude was like, I'm not going to charge you for the soda. And I'm like, that's Chicago hospitality, like I feel like we have a lot of small stories of people being like slightly nice to us. And I'm like, yeah. That's how we are, salt of the earth people. But
yeah,
In reality, I'm pretty sure he didn't charge because I think he was having an issue with the cash register at the time.
No, that's
like,
what it was.
Before he walked up to us, like he was like struggling, like talking to his coworker. I'm like, I think he's like, I'm not gonna charge you $2 for this
He lucked
thing.
out. He was like, oh, thank God they only asked for like a pop. You know?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, great.
It's like it's on the house. Oh yay.
Yeah, but it made us feel good. So there you go.
I'm like, we saved. If you think about how this kind of day normally goes, we saved like $30 on that trip because the machines were free.
Yeah.
We got a free soda.
And
we were like little kids.
We paid for the basketball, so we did.
We did pay for the
some
basketball.
money.
Yeah, that was Isaiah was big on like we contributed to.
Yeah, we got to give something here.
The society. Yeah, that was fun. I will say one of the balls insanely smooth. I don't know why.
Yeah,
it was like melted down. I don't know.
That's what I want in our dream house one day. Is you know how you want? You want your weird nerd cave kind of like with all the garbage and everything. You put a basketball hoop machine in there.
I'm definitely down, and I think unlike a lot of other shit, like my fucking Pac-Man machine that I barely use, I think we will use that like a good amount.
I would use that like at least.
It would be
weekly.
like a workout for me.
Yeah,
that's how I felt about the if I could ever get the pump it up machine, like I would be dancing like crazy. And then not to mention that you're like good at stuff, so you can probably mod it and put like. I can put like, Kendrick Lamar in there and just be like, I'm dancing euphoria for like 10 minutes. Step out of the air. It's a pretty slow song, but it has some different changes. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Honestly, that's all I want now. Damn.
Well,
like euphoria with the arrows that are diagonal. I know a lot of people like DDR, but I like the diagonal arrows. It feels more natural.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, good times. Other gaming stuff in Chicago, we hit up the Exchange. And this is another chain. I don't know how big it is. I know it's like across. To say across the nation sounds a little dramatic, but yeah, the Exchange is like a used game shop, retro game shop. And we went to the one that's in Wicker Park, and I like the Exchange. That's probably like one of the main. There was like 2 or 3 game stores I would go to in Chicago for retro stuff, and the Exchange was definitely one of them because it was in like such a prime location. Like Wicker is not super north. Like I always live south or like South Loop kind of area, so the less north something is, like the easier it is to be kind of like in that cluster for me, which I think is reflected too in like the places I took you to. Like I didn't really take you to like north places. So when we saw my friends who went up north, because I'm like they're up north, like I don't really go up north. Yeah, so what'd you think of the Exchange? Have you been to an Exchange before?
No, never been to an Exchange. It was cool. It was they had a lot of stuff in there, like there's maybe 3 rows, like 3 aisles, left and right for each one. And like one aisle was just video games. The other aisle was like just movies. And I think the third aisle was maybe just like TV show, like box sets or something like that. There's so much stuff there. Now, the con of that is that, at least for the game section, there's like not a huge library for every console that they had. But there was like a good amount of like, more retro stuff, right? Like the modern retro. I don't know what you call it. Like, PS2 gen. There was a lot of like, even some like good PlayStation 1 stuff.
I had this idea while we were at the Art Institute. So I noticed the Art Institute has, and I'm going to mess this up because I don't know art enough to know the categories.
Okay.
But you mentioned like, it's old, but it's not that old. I noticed they have like modern art and contemporary art. And I think there's something there with games.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't know if it's like retro contemporary or something like that. Like, because it's old. Like PS3 is old, but it's not like the same as a Game Boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we can workshop something at some point.
Yeah.
There's something there, but continue.
So yeah, they had a good amount of stuff that was like more recently old. No, I don't think they had too much like really retro stuff. Like I don't even know if they had any like SNES.
Like that
games.
old, yeah.
Like, I don't know if I saw it.
Probably did. I didn't look though because I wasn't interested in shopping for it.
I know they had consoles. They had like a Game Boy Colors, Game Boy Advances.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the games, I don't know what they had. Though we did get a couple games.
Yeah.
You got some off of a recommendation and then 2 that you just found and liked, right?
Yeah. So I am currently casually shopping GBA PSP. I want to get into the Vita once I can resurrect my Vita.
Which we got to send that in still.
Yeah. Well, I got to do it. I mean, they like Kelsey said that I can probably just swap the battery out, which I think you can do that on your own. I don't think you have to. I got to look into that, but like it might need a new battery. On the best case scenario, worst case scenario, it's like beyond repair, which I would be shocked by because it's not that old. Like you guys bought it for me a few years ago, and I only used it like a little bit. but I'm dying to get that thing working so I can play Jack and Dexter again. It's the only platform I haven't played that game on, so it was,
Man.
so, we're going to knock that out. It's going to be fun. But in the meantime, PSP and GBA are big for me. PSP because I really love that console, and that's my OG console too. Like, that's the PSP I had as a kid. Still going strong.
So you only had one PSP your whole life?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The PSP that I bring out, that is the one that I got, like, back in the day.
Crazy.
And, like, I'm trying to be a hater. Like, shout out to my students. You guys are just kids. Back when I used to teach, the only reason that back thing is, like, popped out, like the UMD, where you put the UMD in, it's like a little bloated there. That's really just because of my kids. Because I think one of them dropped it, I think, or something, which I was like, y'all, come on. And if it wasn't for that, it would be in even better condition because I take really good care of my stuff. Like, I've always been very big on that. Like, I've never, and maybe part of that is like we had such like a strict upbringing that's like the thought of like, messing up your stuff is crazy. But also, I don't know, why would I mess up my own stuff? Like, my stuff is pristine, Again, those Simpsons Uno cards I have from when I was 8, they look fresh. And I've been playing, I've played how many hours of Uno with those cards? That's also why I really regret getting rid of so many of my old things when I was a kid, because I'm like, man, that would have been like still working now because we took good care of our stuff. Anyway, that's the OG PSP that I had. So I put up a long time ago on my Twitter, I was like, hey, can I get some PSP recommendations? And a lot of people came through with some recommendations, and then I just kind of like didn't do anything as you do with recommendations, because I'm like, I'm just gonna have this here ready to go. And then when the time struck, I'm like, I will just refer back to this and kind of see what's up. Because since I had the PSP when it was like mostly in its heyday, like I did play a good amount of like what people might recommend, like one of the GTAs, Midnight Club. And the Midnight Club I have is my old Midnight Club. I've had that since I was a kid.
That's
so
cool.
Actually, most of the PSP games you've seen me have,
like, are just your original.
They're original. Like
Daxter's
original, Midnight Club's original. Like the only newer ones are like you might have noticed that like I picked up like I don't know, I picked up like a random like war game at one point. Loco Roco is like a new purchase too, but like a lot of those are like that got a war game. That was like first time I played Chains of Olympus. Like that's the one. Right. And I'm a big fan of when I retro shop personally. There are times that I'm looking for like, let me get the old thing that I like really loved. But more often than not, I love getting stuff I've never played or stuff that's like cheap gems. That's like how I found Loco Roco. Like I didn't know anything about Loco Roco.
Really?
I didn't know anything about Loco Roco. Like no one ever said Loco Roco to me. Yeah. And I know it's like,
that's a little surprising.
I know. It's like, did you play Loco Roco as a kid?
Yeah.
It's like a pretty, it's not insanely popular, but it was like a known IP.
I feel like that, Patapon, like those were.
Yeah, the streets were talking about those, but the street, it was like the side streets. I think we're talking about those. That was the thing.
That's fair.
I know the main streets are like more basic than that. So like I never played Patapon either. I like Patapon. I don't know when I learned the word Patapon, but it was like way after I like had the PSP. I was like, okay. So Loco Roco, literally, I found it at the exchange, like originally, or something like that, where I was just looking at the cases, like I look at what's cheap, but also looks good. So like, I'm usually avoiding the like random license. Oh, it's a Miley Cyrus game. It's like, oh, it's probably ass, right? But every now and then there'll be like stuff that's cheap, and like Loco Roco is like $7 game, like, and that game's awesome. So it's like I kind of look for that, and then I also look for like stuff I never played that people recommend. So when I saw,
have you ever played the Mutant Space Attacks or whatever it is? The who's the people who did Severed?
Okay, yeah, I know that studio. I'm blanking on their name, but they made another game?
Space Mutant Attack or something like that. It's like a blob absorbing, getting bigger
Drinkbox
game.
Studios.
Yeah, I think it was Drinkbox, yeah.
No, a blob absorbing things and getting bigger. That sounds good, though.
It's honestly really fun.
Oh, I see it. Tales from Space, Mutant Blobs Attack.
I'm pretty sure that was, I think they had a Vita one as well, but I think it was originally like a PSP game.
Really? I only see like, I mean, they're kind of only advertised what's now where they're like, oh, Switch, like Xbox, whatever. Yeah, no, I didn't know about that.
We gotta see if we can find it, because that was also a really fun game.
Yeah,
I could be mistaken, just like mixing up where I played it, but I know it's a Vita collection, but yeah, maybe
yeah, it might be on the Vita, because I'm seeing PS3 360, so maybe it had like a Vita version during that time. Yeah, that would be good. That would fall into that. It's like the kind of stuff I look for. So I was looking through, I like bookmarked this tweet, and I went back to it, and I like handed it to you. I'm like, okay, do you see any games from that people are like shouting at me, like in this case? And what do we see? None other than Jeanne d'Arc. Is that how you say that? Is it Jeanne?
I think so.
Jeannd, not hyphen. Oh my God, I'm so tired. Like apostrophe, whatever, arc. It's a Joan of Arc game, I guess. So this is what I was told from this game. This is from my colleague Sarah Prozorski. I know Sarah through MinMax. Sarah does other stuff. Fields of Mistria, streams, blah, blah, blah. Sarah's cool. Sarah said, okay, I didn't love it, which I love when a recommendation starts with like,
I didn't actually like
because
this.
no, it's because I understand her, because she's like, I don't want you playing this and being like, this your man. She's really real for that. She said, okay, I didn't love it, but I need to tell you about it. I played this tactics game called Jeanne d'Arc. It was anime Joan of Arc. The English were demons, and she transformed into super gods chosen. And then she sent a picture of the game.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, cool. Bet, sold. It was $40. I don't know if that's like a good price or a bad price. I know some people, especially with like more chainy stuff, it's overpriced. Like, I don't know, unless you do something wild, I don't really care too much. It's like not that deep. And it had the case. Not that that like matters that much, but it's nice when it has the case.
I was gonna get portable ops, but it didn't have the case. And I was like,
yeah, I definitely. And also that game, I'm like, we're gonna find it other times where it might have the case. So I'm like, yeah, might as well. Yeah, and this seems like it was kind of again, I don't actually know how like mainstream this game was or not, but the vibes I get, like I'm getting cult classic vibes from like the people in my replies talking about it, being like, oh yeah, I really liked it, or it was really fun. Oh my God, like I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like, I've never heard of like, I don't know what the fuck this is. Like when I see something, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this is. I'm like, this add to cart. Like that's how I feel when it comes to retro stuff, especially because, and no shade, people give me recommendations. But again, a lot of people will hit the hits, right? The stuff that everybody knows, the stuff I've heard. Like I get excited when it's something that I haven't heard about, even if it's something that maybe, is somewhat popular. Like Free Running was another one that got recommended. It's like a parkour game, I guess. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. Like, I want the stuff that's like, I don't know what this is. I've never heard of you. We've never heard from you again. Like, that's where the juice is. So I got that. Haven't played it yet. Excited to play it. Have a little, like, I love having my little retro games. And then the other games I got Frogger's Adventure, which I had to Google this. And I'm like, is this like, what's this game about? And I'm like, I think I played that as a kid. And I liked it as a kid. And the reviews were like, okay. I think it was like in the 80s maybe. But also like reviews back then were way different. Like people were reviewing like trash and being like, this is dope. And people were reviewing dope stuff and being like, this is trash. So it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't take reviews too seriously when they're that old because it's like just such a different era. But I'm like, okay, like it seems like it was an ass. And I remember playing it and liking it. And then I also got Rayman for the Game Boy. I thought it was... When I saw it, because the cases were like clear and like angled, I thought it was the Rayman GBA game, which that I looked up the reviews and people were like, oh yeah, this is good. This one, like when he pulled it, he was like, actually this is for the Game Boy, but it plays in the GBA. And I'm like, I mean, like, sure. It was like $7 or $4. I was like, you know what? I don't know if there's even a bad Rayman game. So I'm like, I think it's okay to get this.
That's a good question.
I know some are definitely better than others. The modern ones are like, they slap so hard. This one, I don't know if it was good, but we'll find out, I guess, when I play it again.
You know what's so funny? I was going to say the Jeanne d'Arc kind of reminds me of like White Knight Chronicles. It's the same team that did White Knight Chronicles. Not that like the concept, like the gameplay is necessarily the same, but I was like, oh yeah, it's probably like of that elk. Like, similar vibes, that kind of a kind of like strategy RPG game or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I had to look it up. I was like, man, it sounds really familiar.
Someone in the replies also said that every battle involves magical girl transformations. So
I mean that
sounds really good.
Yeah.
And this is like a game that I never would have played as a kid because I just didn't play like that genre of games. Like there's like a whole like huge chunks of gaming that I just didn't interact with at all until I was an adult because it's just not what I grew up playing. It's like we're going on little platform adventures and that was it, which was very convenient because there were like a million of those games. So it's like, okay, I'm just chilling. Yeah, but that's what I picked up. And then you were going to pick up something, but then you did a pivot.
Yeah.
So what was your story there?
Yeah. So I think it was like either the morning of or the day before or something like that. We got lunch with some of your friends from Chicago. Shout out Jess and Catherine. And Tony, the dog.
Oh, yeah, Tony.
Tony the dog.
Yeah. No, not thought behind those eyes.
No. But
like a pet that's excited to see you. I'm like, what is this? This is wild.
And we brought up the Dragon Age, new Dragon Age game is coming out, and I was like, oh man, like I played the original. I played Dragon Age Origins, fucking loved it. It was so cool, so good. One of the first like of these kind of like I guess you would call it like a Western RPG, that I'd played in like a long time. Maybe even ever. It was like it was like a really like kind of like intro to this genre for me, and I was like really loved it. I tried playing Dragon Age 2, and for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe like a Fallout game or something came out afterwards, and I was like, oh, I want to try this new Fallout game. Anyway, something happened, and I bounced from it, and I never went back, and I never played more of it. And I was like, you know what? They're talking it up. They said it's like Dragon Age 2 they thought was better than Dragon Age Origins, and I'm like, man, that's crazy because I thought Origins was great. I'm like, all right, you know what? Next, we're gonna go to the exchange. I'll look and see if they have it, and if they do, I'll get it. I'll play it and let you guys know what I think. Turns out that when we were there, they didn't have it, or they did have it. But I was like, you know what? I think I might own it still. Like I might still have it. We have like our, I have on my PS1, PS2, PS3, everything like that. So I'm like, man, if I have it, I could just like play it at home for free instead of getting it again here. So we called your brother who was like cat sitting for us and was like, hey, like can you just check my games and see if you see randomly Dragon Age 2 there? And he did. And I still have it. And
free Dragon Age 2.
Yeah, free Dragon Age 2 at home. We're gonna try it out. I'm gonna play it again. I probably don't have my save unless it could be in like the PlayStation Network kind of like cloud backup save thing. I don't know if they had it at that point in the PS3 life cycle, but I'm gonna try it, play Dragon Age 3, see what this old BioWare is like before I try new BioWare.
The classic ABFF7R, anything but Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. We need to just beat this game. I think I'm so scared to even say this because I don't want to.
You gonna say we stream it?
No. I mean, we could, and I would be fine with that because we've been looking for something to do on our Games and Not Games channel anyway. But when we're done with Astrobot, I think we need it's time. It is time. Which it was so funny too because I was talking to someone. We went out last night for a friend's birthday, and I was talking to somebody there. I don't know if you caught this conversation, but I mentioned, I'm like, oh yeah, like with these games, because like, Game of the Year is coming up. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I'm so behind on so many games I want to play. I'm like, I still haven't played Yakuza because I've been saving it for when I beat Rebirth. And I haven't beat Rebirth. And they told me, they're like, I literally am doing the same thing. And that's like why I haven't played Yakuza. So honestly, Yakuza got really, I'm sorry, Yakuza. Like I did you dirty. Like I should have just went to you first because I would have beat Yakuza by now.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, or I would have been really far in. Like maybe I would have, because it's a long game. But now it's like I'm full of regret. But now we have to get this done.
It's September.
Yeah, now it's September. Yeah,
the year end is coming up.
Yeah, it's not good. So yeah, we'll have. I will say though that Dragon Age 2 Veilguard comes out real soon. Mm-hmm. It's kind of insane how soon it's coming out. Why is it coming out so soon?
I'm not trying to play Dragon Age 2 before Veilguard comes out. Okay. I can tell you that right now. There's no way that's happening.
October 31st is the release date. That game is not insane. I feel like they announced it 2 days ago. Like I know it's not true. It got announced I think during like the summer or something, or I don't know. Maybe it got announced a while ago. I'm tripping. It probably got announced a while ago. But I feel like we just heard about this game like 1 second ago, and then they're like, oh, the previews are out, and now they're like, also the game is out.
Dragon Age 2 does have 26 and a half hours on how
That's
long
not bad.
That's not bad.
You cranked out Starfield like immediately, which we'll talk about at some point on the show. That's that's needed.
I guess if we have to.
Yeah, I think it's like there needs to be the we can maybe bundle it with 7 Rebirth, the RPGs we love to hate. I don't know. Yeah. The RPGs that made me. I don't know. We'll figure something out. Yeah, so that was cool. A fun run at the exchange. And now I just gotta actually play these games. But I think it'll be good because I've been looking for something to dip into on the handheld side, which I do need to finish Loco Roco 2 still, but there we go. Yeah. Jean d'Arc will be fun. I'll at least try to start it soon so that I can start to talk to Sarah, because I'm going to see Sarah in North Carolina when we do that thing. Yeah. So I want to be able to say that like, oh, I started the game. So that'll be fun. Okay, the last like gamey thing that we did is we hit up a Goblin Market located in Lakeview. This was recommended to us by my friends Jess and Catherine, who you mentioned before. Yep. Who are very much nerds. Like they're into games, they're into board games, they're into like anything that you can think of that's nerdy. I'd say they're pretty versed in. Maybe not anime now that I think about it. I don't know if they're hitting anime.
Oh, man,
Very
do
much.
I have a Delicious in Dungeon manga that I can send them?
Yeah, I mean they did talk about wanting that manga, so maybe they are hitting up anime. But anyway, yeah. So Goblin Market, it's a manga shop primarily, but it also has
Yes.
like other stuff.
Yeah, they have a couple board games. They have like some tabletop equipment.
Curiosities is how it's labeled on Google.
Really?
Manga and curiosities.
Oh. Yeah, they had like we got some, what do you call them, dice trays?
Yeah.
We got some dice trays while we were there. So they have like, minis and
Which we
painting
don't need at
minis,
all because we have a
equipment and
felt
stuff.
table,
Yeah,
but I
no.
wanted them anyway.
They're cat shaped. Like they're
They're
cute,
cat
they're fun.
shaped. Yeah, they're cat shaped
Yeah.
dice trays. You fold them up and a cat's looking at you.
Yeah,
It's great.
It's like it's on its back and it's like you're rolling the dice into its
belly. Yeah, it's so cute.
It's really good.
And now the dice will stay contained. Like, yeah, that was
our problem.
This is what's stopping our progress in our
Exactly.
games. Yeah.
But yeah, no, the Goblin Market, also awesome name. Fantastic name. Really cool place. You go in there, it's very welcoming. It's quiet, it's clean and organized and everything like that. And they have the staff was pretty knowledgeable too. Like we only had the one worker there when we went. But I asked them like, oh, I've been wanting to like find a new like manga series to get into. I haven't read manga in like, I don't know, forever. Mostly I do like more watching of my anime and stuff. But I was like, you know what? If there's anything you guys have you recommend, it'd be cool to get while I'm here. You can bring it back. A good Chicago souvenir, if anything. And one of the things he recommended was the Delicious in Dungeon, which you had already kind of watched.
I started watching it. Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Janet said it was good. This guy's recommending it. Sure, I'll get that. We also got a couple, like, what do you call them? Mini RPGs?
Mini RPGs, yeah.
Mini RPGs. They're up here on the wall behind me. Which I guess it's like, you need a pen and, presumably a set of dice. But they're like,
which we're ready now because we have the trays.
Yeah, which we're ready now because we have the trays. But they are like, I guess these just like mini RPG excursions you basically do. They had a handful, I think, like at least like 4 or 5,
something like that.
We picked up 2 of them that sounded interesting to us. We'll try those maybe at our next game night.
Honestly, I've been like,
or something.
We'll see how. It's funny because at the top of the show, I was like, oh yeah, I'm tired. You're tired. I'm definitely feeling more energized. It's also why I like doing content. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm like awake, I'm alive. Like, let's go, let's do stuff. But literally, like yesterday or 2 days ago, we were like too busy, so I didn't suggest it because I was doing a bunch of like organizing of the apartment and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm honestly in the mood to like play some games. And I think that what I like about the mini RPGs and you don't need to do this like to get into like D&D or other campaigns. You can just jump into whatever you are interested in, like pursue your interests. But for sake of time and also sake of like slow rolling, learning physical game design. Like I know about games, like video games, but not as much about like board games and tabletop and adventures. Like I like the idea of like micro RPGs or just like stuff that is more stripped down where it's like we can just focus on this aspect of it. Yeah. So that's what drew me to those. I think one of them is like kind of a general like fantasy magical ability one, and the other one is a farming one.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm excited for that.
So we got both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
We got cozy and then traditional. Yeah, and then not on the wall, we also picked up a book. I think it's called like Improv for Gamers, Volume 2 or something like that, where it's like we both like, I think, that tabletop RPG kind of like vibe of games, but because we have less experience in it, sometimes it could be hard for us to like really necessarily get into character or like go with the flow.
You were very nice for saying us because it's
storytelling.
No, I've never played anything with you that's like that. So
I
actually
don't Jaws of the Lion.
So I actually don't know. Yeah, but you're not really like storytelling in that.
True,
you're just like doing the mechanics. I don't actually know like how good you are at that, but I just assume that you're better than me because you've done it more.
I mean, I guess.
But yeah, like I've expressed to Isaiah that I'm like I am not very good at like the play pretend aspect of like that stuff, which sounds like I sound very stiff, but it's like I just feel like so like I've gotten to be around a lot of people that are like very into tabletop, very into role playing. They're good at it. They know it. They do it. They do it for like some of them do it for a freaking living.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, like I'm a GM, a DM, whatever, or I teach people games for a living, like just like wild stuff, or I consult on whatever. So there's like all these people that I know. And then there's like me. So, and yeah, I'm like, okay, the gap is very, on one hand, like the gap can be like charming. Like you talk to my friends about like having a mixed group can be nice because it's like you have people I don't know, and like the people I don't know might have like not more creativity, but they like see things from a different angle because they like have the ignorance to like not know how to see things correctly. Yeah. But it's like, I just haven't spent a lot of time doing it, and I have been enjoying it, but it's hard for me to do because I just don't have like that skill set. And you know, people around me are very nice. Oh no, I think you're creative. It's like I'm creative, but for certain things, like I can't really like conjure up like worlds and ideas and like factions and all these other things. So, and I've mentioned that to Isaiah like recently, and he's like, "Oh, look, this book could be for you." And I was like, "Maybe." And he's like, "I'm gonna buy it." So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it is fun though. But if you're not used to doing it, it does feel like kind of weird.
Yeah,
because it's like, this is sort of, especially as an adult, there's not a lot of, you don't really play a lot as an adult. And obviously we're gamers, so we do play more than like other adults do, but it's just like a different mindset. And like, even as a kid, I was not the big world builder. Like my brother Edwin was that person. Like he's the one that came up with like the Animal Football League and the thing our stuffed animals did. And he like, I think helped like name them, and like we create like a lot of the like world building lore fun was like my brother for the most part. Like I did a couple things, but not much. Like I made a couple little comics as a kid, but like I wasn't really doing big deal narrative.
Yeah.
And even then, like what was that, 20 to 30 years ago? I mean, not 30 years ago, but it was a while ago. So yeah, I'm excited for that. It's fun, and I'm looking forward to like looking into also the different styles of games like that, because I don't really have like that big like fantasy background, so I like stuff that is also like a mix of different I guess like points in time and all that. But yeah, it'll be fun. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, you know, I have that D&D starter kit. I've been waiting to crank that out.
That's why I'm like I just really want to enjoy and like use what we have. And I think it's also the nice part of travel too, where they come back and I'm like enthused to be back. Another thing I want to mention for Goblin Market, because I really liked it. That's like, I liked it so much. I'm like, I wish this copy paste LA, like put this in LA and I'll be here all the time. Yeah. They had like really nice stickers and like different stationery too. Like they had candles. They smelled amazing.
They had some really nice candles. They had some comics as well.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, DC, Marvel.
Some good local stuff. Some good like curation of different like themes within storytelling. Like they had like a big queer section. Like they had it just was like really nicely made, good vibes. And the other thing I was going to mention is it was literally so nice that I left and I'm like, Isaiah, this is what I want our apartment to look like. Which I know it's kind of like, you have to be like, what? So you want it to look like a fucking store? But like, yes, I want it to look like this store.
Yeah.
And literally when we got back, I went to fucking work. We got back, like, you know,
yes.
I probably mentioned like 9 different revamps I've done of the apartment. Which I never finished telling you this. I keep trying to tell you this story and I never finish. We're at the airport. We're across from those guys.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, this is related to what I'm talking about. But we were across from some guys and it was like 3 guys or something. And eventually like a woman joins them. Presumably they're all together, like part of the same company or friend group or whatever.
It seemed like a work trip of some kind.
I think it was a work trip. But before she arrived, one of them was talking about like, there was, you know, like relationships, like one of them's newly single, whatever. They're just like little stuff. But one of them mentions, oh yeah, like my wife loves to, I think wife, maybe girlfriend, like my wife loves to just like move everything around in our house. And I don't know where anything is. And I'll say, where are the forks? And she'll be like, oh, I moved them to this drawer. And I'm like, why did you move them to the drawer? And she's like, I didn't really like how they were working there. And I'm like, they were fine. Like, what do you mean? They're forks. And I'm like, he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it.
No. That is so funny. I did not hear that.
No, because it was while you were gone. You were literally gone. You were getting food. And I'm like, I'm going to isolate myself because I'm getting hangry. So I wanted to just sit alone and like rest already while you like get food. And I wanted to fill my water bottle.
Funny.
But yeah, which like something, I mean, again, maybe this is bare minimum, but something I appreciate about you is that while you too can be like, girl, where are the towels? Like where's the item? Because you don't know where it is anymore. You always like appreciate my little tweaks because they're with purpose. It's not you're just moving for, you know, I'm not there in her house, but I am inclined to take her side. This woman I've never seen. But it's like, you think she's just moving the forks for fun? She has a vision. What do you mean? So, I dusted off and cleaned up our game shelf and made that look a little nicer and more inviting. And, you know, I'm like trying to set up our like knickknacks and our books to like be like display and stuff, and I think it's gonna be really cute.
Yeah.
And I put one of our giant squishmallows on top of the calyx, and it looks cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, I want the calm of like a nicely curated shop where it's like it's like functional, but it's like a little aesthetic. And I'm like, okay, this is what I want to live in this store. So that's me.
I can't wait. It's so far so good. The start that you've made is already also nice, and I think that's, sidetrack again. I think that's one of the reasons why it's easy to just be like, all right, where's the tiles now? Like I'll learn where the new tile placement is, because like each time it does get better.
Yeah.
It's like always finding a better position for somewhere to live, and a different drawer for this thing to be at, and things like that. So it's cool.
Yeah, the patch update.
Yeah, new kitchen drawer.
Yeah, like the patch updates continue. I think it's why I say this every 2 seconds. Like, oh, I'm done for a while, but like now I think I am mostly done for a while. I want to buy some book holder things, but yes.
You said, oh, I don't know if we're actually done with the studio.
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to get something else. You've done way more in the living room than I've done in the studio.
Yeah, but I always said, and you could, check the tape. I don't know where the tape is, but that like once you go a month without buying anything, I think you're done at that point. I mean, obviously, like, sure, at one point in life will you buy like another fill light, but I wouldn't say that's you not being done with the studio. That's just you like living your life. Like at a certain point, you're going to buy more things for your life. Yeah, like now you're done. But I remember your salt of buying those like sandbags, and you're like, it doesn't count. I'm like, it does. You're like, yeah, but you said you wanted this. I'm like, yeah, because it's like we needed it for the studio. Yeah, I think at this point we're pretty done. I know we're gonna buy new seating at some point because the chair you're sitting on is falling apart. Yeah. My chair's great, but your chair falling apart. So we'll do that at some point. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty much good. So with that, I think that's a wrap on the our time gaming in Chicago.
Yeah.
All right, and now for the not game section, we're talking about what we did in Chicago.
Yes.
So I guess kind of going chronologically, we went to breakfast.
Yeah. So to I guess give a holistic overview of the Chicago trip,
Sure.
It was a sort of opportunity for me to see Chicago, for Janet to take me where she grew up, where places she visited.
Chicago.
Yeah, it's my block, Chicago. The Janet lore, the Janet background, and that started with pretty mid breakfast.
Yeah. Part of me is like, do I want to name this business? I mean, so this is a place that I went to a lot. It's called Sweet Maple. It's by USC. And I remember it being really good. I remember being like, oh my God, the biscuits are so good. The food is so good. It's Southern style. It's so good. I was without speech. I was speechless. I was like, oh, damn, I brought all y'all out here to eat this mid-breakfast.
Had me on this hot train, walking miles.
Okay, it's like a few blocks. But yeah, it did not hit. And I don't know if that's like, maybe it was never as good as I thought it was. Maybe it fell off. We don't have the way to know. But I had a bad feeling when we met my friends for that breakfast, and they got there before us. And I said, oh, okay, see if you can like just put our name down at least. They said, oh no, they just were able to seat us. I'm like, what? Because there was always a wait when I went to this place. Mm-hmm. And now I was like, I don't feel good about this. I don't feel good. Yeah, it just wasn't that good. And I was like, damn. So that was a little like, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be the whole trip. Like, I was sweating. Also, it was hot. It was hot as hell in Chicago when we went, which I did know was a possibility because it doesn't really get cold until like the way Chicago is, like the weather is fucked. Like when it's cold, it's freezing cold, and winter could last far into non-winter months. Winter can also start early in the months, and then also the summer is hot. It's hot as hell. It's the hottest weather I have had to live through. I lived a couple places, here like California basically, but in Iowa, so hot, burning hot. And then the summer will also last longer than you expect it to as well. So I'm like, okay, September is our best chance for not hot as hell and not cold as shit. And it was a bit hotter than I hoped it would be. I was hoping we'd get more in the 70s and below. We were more like, weren't we like in the 90s? It was hot.
Yeah, no, it was 90s like most of the time.
Yeah, I really would have loved like a low 80, hot mid 70. Nah. I brought that jacket. I ain't bring that jacket out
Not
at all.
once.
But you know, it was all right. Like once we like kind of knew what to expect, and we bought Isaiah shorts because he didn't bring any shorts, or he brought only one pair. Anyway, we were fine there. Then we went to Pilsen. Which, what's your description of Pilsen?
Pilsen, like much of what we saw in Chicago, I tried to just like mentally, subconsciously relate it back to the areas of Buffalo, just like from what I'm familiar with. And it seemed like a good, maybe like, you know, west side of Buffalo kind of like neighborhood, where it was like very residential, but like, you know, there's a main street, there's some major cross streets and stuff that like, you know, the buses are running up and down, or there's like stores and shops and, you know, this, that, and the third. I will say the area of Pilsen was really nice in that, one, where you grew up, which is where you took me to, like the apartments and stuff that you lived in. The area is really nice, and you have this like awesome park next to it.
Yeah.
It's like walking, you know, down the street. There's the Museum of Mexican Art, which is like super dope. It's like a free museum you can go into. They take donations, obviously. You know, I think we gave like $1 or something.
Yeah.
It was like all the cash we had kind of with us.
We have $1 to the art museum and like $3 to the basketball arcade.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the distribution wasn't as even.
It was whatever cash we had on hand.
But it was cool. It was really dope. We had some elotes. You got an elote in the park.
The elote hit.
Oh,
shout out to whatever vendor, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't have the name of like the cart or whatever, but it hit. They delivered.
That they also had like horchata, which looking back now, I wish we did double back and get the horchata. And then we went to churro.
Yeah, the churro factory,
which is
fire,
sweet.
Which I'm like, thank God,
weird
Pilsen,
having a fresh churro.
Pilsen was like, let me put some respect on the city's name. Like Pilsen carried. I love Pilsen. Yeah, I didn't quite grow up there, but I did live there most recently. Like when I lived in Chicago, it was the last place I lived. And if I ever am forced to go back for some reason, I would likely live there again. I love that neighborhood. But yeah, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but churros, I always thought I hated churros because I had never had a good churro, and the churro factory churros are the best. Like they are so fresh, they're soft. They have
good flavors.
They have
like
lots
a weekly or daily flavor of the day kind of thing too, which is really cool.
It's like the filling is so delicious. Yeah, every day they have a specialty flavor. The day we were there, I think it was dulce de leche was the flavor. They also have like a Nutella day. Nutella day is great. Like it's just good. It's good. They have horchata as well, and their horchata was pretty good. I liked it.
It was good.
Honestly,
I find it hard to make a bad horchata. They're all different, but I love them all the same. You know what I mean? It's like, that's where I'm at.
I personally do not like when they are like too sweet.
Oh, I fucking love
I guess
too sweet.
But like in a certain way, like I don't know. It's weird because it is I feel like I love horchata. This is not horchata slander, but I feel like it is the least consistent beverage I've ever had in my life. Like it is wildly different. No, wildly is a little dramatic, but it tastes a little different everywhere because everyone makes it slightly different. So if you like it, you still just like it, but you might like different ones or find different ones better than others based on like your taste in the drink.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the only way I can really describe it. But that was there. We had what else do we have? We got coffee at Jumping Bean.
We got the tortas.
Yeah, the tortas are from Doña Torta. It's a soccer themed torta shop. It was pretty good. It wasn't like mind blowingly a banger, but it was very respectable. And at this point in the trip, I'm like, I'm looking for wins wherever I can get them. We split the Cruz Azul one, which is like a carne asada torta. And the salsa was that banged. That was incredible. They had there on the table.
I've never had, and I'm going to drag it a little bit, I've never had such good salsa mixed with such stale chips.
I was like, why are these chips are so stale? Telling the story to my brother, he said the chips are mainly decorative, is how he described these chips.
Clearly.
Yeah. If you can't cut yourself while eating a chip, Are you really at a place that should you even be dining at this establishment? You know, are they just doing it for the clout? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really fun. And then let's see what else. We kind of like went up, 18th Street, went to some little shops. We got some candies for you to try later.
Yeah.
The Mexican candies.
Got some Mexican candies. We went by Jumping Bean.
Yeah.
Which was a place. It was fine.
Yeah,
it apparently isn't like as good as it used to be. They restructured the inside a little bit.
Yeah, I don't like what they did with the inside. But this is like me versus like 5-10 years ago at this point. The cold brew I had did not hit. It was too bitter to me. Can't comment on the food. So, I used to love Jumping Bean's food. I don't know if it's still good because we just didn't eat there.
The birth of Jay's Lox Bagel.
Yeah, that's where I fell in love with the Lox Bagels. So I'm hoping they're still throwing down, but I don't know because I didn't eat there. But I was just like, damn, this coffee, like low-key a little bitter. So that was not my favorite moment, but it's like, hey, whatever. And then we went back over to, I think it's 16th Street. It's basically 2 blocks over. And they have like what I call like the art walk, which I think it's kind of what it's called. It's like a bunch of graffiti art style stuff that goes up for like blocks and blocks. We didn't see all of it because it's really big, but just that was our walk back towards
really
the 18th Street
mural.
train. Yeah.
It's just like, what's up with like the Pokemon fandom? Like, I feel like at every mural that we walked by or like seen in the city, there's always like either a random Pikachu here, like a Ghastly over there, or like a Haunter or something. Like, it's always like just and it's always Gen 1, which I appreciate because I'm a 90s kid. But yeah, no, I was like surprised to see how like Pokemon and the DeLorean are like the 2 underground staples of Chicago.
Well, yeah, the DeLorean is funny, because there was a DeLorean in headquarters, like a cut in half one, like sticking out of like the wall basically.
Yeah.
And then there's spoilers for the future. There's one in the wormhole in Wicker Park, which we'll talk about as well. Yeah, I don't know, like it's like a. Everyone existed around that time. It's like the nostalgia. I'm curious what the new nostalgia will end up being. Like what kind of things we'll see from like
the new nostalgia.
Once Gen Z and I don't know if Gen Alpha is the littler one, but once generations underneath us really grow up, like what is their like style and their flavor. But yeah, I think a lot of what we see still in cities is like of the millennial eye, which is like Gen 1 Pokemon, I guess, a little bit of the DeLorean. But the DeLorean's a little bit like too old for like millennials. But I guess if you're an older millennial, the DeLorean hits. Yeah, I don't know what it would be. Well, I guess we'll find out in like 20 years. Yeah, but that was fun. And then we hit up Chinatown, which we mostly went to like the Chinatown Square, which I feel like didn't go over that great because it's like the stores get really crowded and you're a tall man and a large man, and you're like, I don't want to.
I'm a bigger boy, and
I don't want to duck and weave.
We went to one store. I think it was literally the first store we went into. First of all, very narrow aisles to begin with, but then it was also like the middle of the day, and so it was like a pretty crowded time. And there was another guy who was about my size in the same aisle. Like I was going one way, he was going the other way, and when we had to cross, I felt like a bull in a china shop.
Yeah.
Like, I thought. If I leaned too far against the shelves, it was going to topple over and everything was going to fall and break. And everything. I was like, you know what? This just isn't for me. I'm just going to step out. You can keep shopping if you want, by all means. I don't want to take away your fun from like looking at stuff, but this place is
fun was killed.
Too cramped for me. And so, yeah, that to me, I think was the like just really the only downer for the shops there. Is that like they're just inherently a little bit smaller. Again, for a bigger boy.
Which
like myself.
We'll see how that
works when we go to Japan.
Japan, I'm a bit concerned about because I heard that it can be very small, especially some of the restaurants are like really tiny. They can only seat like 6 people, 7 people. So I'm sure it'll be generally fine. Yeah. And I also think you'll be slightly more down in some of those instances just for the sake of the novelty of it versus this is like at the end of the day, like we're still in the United States. Like it's not that, do you really, I need to see this one like small elephant statue. It's like, it's fine, and you're not a big trinkets person anyway. So it's like, not a big deal. But we did that, hung out there. Funnily enough, we were going to go to Joy Plus, Shabu Shabu, but they like have it set up differently now, like from when I was last there. So they have it on the second floor. Like they have like 2 locations in Chinatown Square, and one of them is the Shabu Shabu one that we wanted to go to. But they made it so the bottom is like ice cream and like smoothies and stuff, and the top is the restaurant. And when we went up there, it was really dark in there. There were like a couple workers like sitting in the back, like kind of just chilling. And and this is not a like, oh, workers need to be moving on time, but they were like chilling in a way that kind of looked like, oh, maybe they're waiting for like someone to open. Like, it felt like they were very like waiting. So I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then weird thing, the print on the door was backwards. It's like someone put the decal on from the inside so that from the outside it reads backwards, which I just thought was odd. Yeah. And when I pulled on the door, I swear to God, it didn't open and then it opened later. And there were two girls that passed us at the time that were like, oh, is it closed? Where is it? Like, it seems like people were having that issue. So we didn't end up being there. We ate somewhere else. Got some like Korean barbecue nearby, which was, I thought was really good. But yeah, it was definitely like no report on, is that because they fell off or is it because no one knows where they are? I don't know.
Facts. Yeah. It had the look and feel that like the entrance to the restaurant upstairs was through the kind of like ice cream boba dessert shop downstairs, and they just weren't open yet. Like, I did not think we could go in there. Again, the lights were off. The people were chilling. Like, seemed like they were just waiting for their shift to start kind of thing, which I'm all fine with. But like, no, they were like just open and just empty. And
and then we did eventually get in there, and they were like, "Do you want food?" And I was like, "Yeah." I don't know. I was like, you know what? Let's not eat here. I said,
asking
no,
if you want food at a restaurant should have been honestly.
It was honestly like let me know in the comments if y'all hit up Shabu Shabu in the Joy Shabu Shabu and tell me if what's up with that, because I was just like, you know what? I can't be rolling the dice like this. I've taken too many L's already. Like, I can't. But yeah, I enjoyed the Korean barbecue place. You were kind of just like fine with it, but you also don't like other foods.
I like Korean barbecue fine. I like it okay. Yeah. I would never ask for Korean barbecue, but people seem to always want to go, and it's like, all right, fine, I'll go.
I think it's because you mostly only rock with the meats there. You don't really like the like the kimchi and all of that kind of stuff.
I'm not a fan of kimchi. I'm not a fan of like,
you like rice,
pickled
but then at a certain point, it's just rice and meat, which is great. Get
elsewhere,
but it's like, it's not
for cheaper.
Yes, part of the fun is like the ways the flavors interact with each other. And Isaiah's like, I don't want any of these other flavors, so then the fun is kind of gone. So I can get why you were not as into that one, but yeah, and then at the end of the night, we stopped by Moody Tongue, which is a brewery that I used to work at, but they've moved like 2 times since then in location, so they were way different than when I worked there. Beer was good, very like classy, bougie vibe place. I was very sad because I really wanted the 12-layer German chocolate cake, and that night they had sold out of it. And we just never really were able to make the time to go back up there, so I have yet to have that cake.
Not even that. It was just they're closed Monday and Tuesday, and so like we could have gone though if we really forced it, but I just didn't want to, because we went on like Friday or Saturday. Yeah, we could have gone Saturday, or because they're closed Sunday, Monday. Saturday.
I thought we went on Friday.
No, Friday we did the dinner.
Oh yeah, I guess we couldn't have gone. You're right. Yeah. Okay, so then not a far either way, but yeah, it just was like an unfortunate circumstance, but it can remain like good in my mind, because maybe it's not even. Maybe you don't even hit.
To be honest, you might have lucked out.
I don't know.
It can live perfect in your mind.
Yeah, but I love a good cake, and yeah, that was fun. So that was like kind of moving backwards in time was like my setup, where it's like we start with the most recent stuff that I did, which was like Pilsen, because that's where I lived before. Then we went all the way back to like my OG house, which was in Brighton Park, south side of Chicago. And because of the way the train lines are set up, we started actually that day going to Curie High School off of Pulaski, because that's where my brother went to school, and also where I student taught. And we looked at that, and I was like, that's what the school is. And then we went to the Super Mall. So what is the Super Mall, and was it as described to you?
The Super Mall is what I've always known as a flea market, where it's a sort of big building that people sort of set up. They have like sort of these dedicated spaces where they can like set up their own shops, essentially. And you'll get any and everything in there. You'll get a jewelry shop next to a boots store, next to a tax prep person, next to like a cell phone store. You know what I mean? Like anyone who just kind of wants a space, assuming that they have the money and the availability, they can like kind of rent a space, and that's like their shop. In Buffalo, we have honestly, it's probably about the same size. At least comparable size was like our flea market. In the back of ours, there's like this really cool like kind of like card, like a trading card stand. And so like that's sort of the beginning and end of my real experiences with the flea market. It's like, I'd go there, I'd trade in some Yu-Gi-Oh cards or buy some Pokemon cards, stuff like that. But this is like that, but like I don't want to say more exotic because that sounds weird, but more like that Mexican culture. And so it's like, oh, like this is kind of cool. Like as soon as you walk in, you hear noise.
Like you're the outsider.
Yeah, no, facts. You walk in. Well, first of all, we stopped by the food court there, which was really dope.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm kind of hungry. I want a little snack.
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce it. Would you get the
Chicharrones?
Chicharrones?
Yes. If you could roll the R's, that'd be the time to do that, but I can't roll them. They're like pork rind wheels.
Yeah, the little wheels.
It's kind of what they are.
They're tasty. You get them in a bag. You throw the hot sauce on them. Maybe even a little like lemon or lime juice kind of thing. Really good. But we did that as like a little quick snack, and then we started walking around. And like as soon as you walk into the building, you just hear this noise, and I'm like, what is this noise? What is going on here? What why is it so loud? And you keep walking, and you see eventually it's like, oh wait, no, that's a bird noise. That's a lot of bird noise. And it's also like people talking about these bird noises. And so like we're like kind of like snaking through the lanes, we come up to one shop that's just like a pet store. But it's like the fucking dopest pet store ever. It's like there's a wall of just like various birds, like various parakeets, and
the prices seemed good too. Like I'm not a birdologist.
I think it was like $100 for like.
Was it $100?
It was like I think I saw as low as like $100.
I swear to God, I think I saw as low as like
that.
I swear to God, I think I saw as low as like $30.
No, I wish not for the birds.
I wish I took a picture of it, but the parakeet prices were like mad low. But I don't remember. If you're saying 100, then I guess I
saw like a two for 100 kind of thing. Like
okay,
some
I think they were
that.
less than that. But
outside of birds, they had snakes, they had bearded dragon, they had lizards, they had turtles, they had hamsters, goldfish. Like there was a lot of different animals in this like shop, and it wasn't a big shop either. It was like square footage wise, I mean like 10 by 10, 10 by 15, something like that. Maybe a average bedroom kind of size.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot going on there. It was dope. I could see me in another life. Like, I don't know, I like animals. And so like me in another life coming here, getting my lizard food or something like that. And, hopping back on the bus to go back home. Like it was cool. It was dope. And then like, as we kind of kept snaking, it was a lot of like, sort of clothes, things like shops that would sell dresses that you'd see maybe for like quinceañeras or, tuxedos for like graduation or prom kind of thing. And yeah, no, it was really cool. There's
rims,
a lot of stuff. I don't think
tattoos.
They had the rims, they had sound systems.
I was like, for that pet shop, way too many birds in one cage. But hey, it's not my business.
Absolutely.
I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm
not a birdologist, but I feel like probably over the.
I'm like, there seems like
limit.
there's a lot in one cage.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of want to just buy these just to free them a little bit. Yeah, like everything. The way I described it to Isaiah before we went is anything you could want is in here. Yeah. Like, now, do you want it? We're not asking that right now. We're just saying, but yeah, jewelry,
tattoo shop,
tattoos, haircut. You like saw someone getting their haircut.
Yeah, there's a barber shop in there. I was like, all right, I respect it.
Blankets, pinatas, toys, instruments. Yeah. Hot dogs. They had some like food throughout. Besides the food court area, they had like just like hot dogs attached to like lots of jerseys.
Yeah,
a lot of bootleg stuff. You want bootleg Louis. You want bootleg Michael.
We got you.
Marc Jacobs. It was all there.
Got you.
Some more convincing than others. Not gonna lie. I'm like, I feel like you're not really trying. But maybe I don't know. Some people are fine with like the look, but it's like, okay, well, clearly this isn't Louis. And then I'm like, no, this does look like Louis. Okay, let's glance at a couple.
Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it was Lou Vuitton.
Yeah.
Yeah. My cousin Lou. Yeah, it was fun. So we did that. I just kind of looked through it and walked through it once. Then we went to Brighton Park, where we saw my old house that I grew up in, that I lived from when I was like a baby until like 16, 17. Showed you the garage that my dad designed.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, you saw his design work
his
in
work
real life.
in person.
Yeah, for the quick story is my dad wanted a garage for the house, like he didn't have one, and he like designed it, like drew it up, and then he had to go to like City Hall to get like the basically it like
Plans
approved, you know,
basically.
And then, you know, for the building, like he hired someone to actually like physically build it. But yeah, he designed it himself, drew the little drawings and all
that's
that.
cool.
So yeah, my architect dad and then
Yeah.
it's a very simple garage, just, you know, the box, but he drew the box, you know, like what are you gonna do? So that was cool. And then we went to the Paco's Tacos.
Paco's Tacos. I think Paco's Tacos was probably the best food we had.
Yay!
It's at least like a top 2 toss up. You know what I mean? Like it was really good. I got a carnitas burrito, which I think I might be just a carnitas burrito fan at this point. Like,
yeah, I feel like you're very carnitas build.
Carnitas is so
I'm a
good.
carne asada person because I've been burned by carnitas a lot growing up. So
I've only had good carnitas.
Carnitas are kind of like the churros of like meat for me. Like,
okay.
you ever
All
have
right.
dry carnitas?
No,
I have.
thankfully.
So dry, crispy.
And
on some parts. Like that's how dry these carnitas have been. It's bad. When it's bad, I think it's like I think it's like one of the worst meats to do bad for like Mexican like tacos and burritos and stuff. But yeah, when it's good, it is good.
Yeah.
There was another place that I was considering taking to you. That's Carnitas Ordipan in Pilsen, which I think you would have liked, but the reason I didn't bring you there is because we have a carnitas place here in LA that you really like. And I feel like it would be like the same difference. So I just didn't feel like it would be like novel enough. Yeah, what'd you think of the vibe inside of the restaurant?
I mean, I thought it was pretty basic. It was like funnily enough, it has that like pizza shop hole in the wall kind of vibe. You know, it is cool. Like when you walk in, you see basically like the whole kitchen food prep area to the left, and then like you stand and eat over to the right, so you can see all the workers like, you know, prepping the food, cooking.
Yeah,
the
they like
food,
make it in front of you.
Yeah,
I've always really liked that part about it, and it's not like insanely novel because like I mean, freaking Subway makes the sandwich. You know, it's like, but I like that aspect. It's like there's something about it that's just like I don't know, it's fun. Yeah, it's like it just feels like live and direct, and then you like sit down, and they just hand it to you, and they don't have like a little number sticker in there, which I'm sure they're just like probably right on the receipt, like who the people are or something. I don't know, but like I've always
shirt.
But I've always really liked that too because it just feels like these are professionals. You know what I mean? Like they know what they're doing. They're making good food.
Craft,
they're making good food. They know who you are.
Yeah.
Like you can just take a seat, you know. And they have like the little for the jarritos to pop the bottle. They have like the cap in the wall thing, and it's just like. You know, that sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. They don't know who I am, but you know. But I feel like they could know me. You know, so it's like
if you went there enough, I feel like they would have learned it.
Yeah, it's fun. I think that did have tap. We definitely encountered a good amount of cash situations, especially Pilsen. I think a little bit in Brighton Park, but mostly like Pilsen, we had to pay cash a lot for stuff, or cash was like preferred or whatever. So, yeah, that was cool. That was good. And then we made the commute up to my high school. What do you think about the commute?
Yeah. Solid. They
do it for 4 years, and then you tell me that it's no okay. It's actually not that bad, but it's
is impressive. Not that you had to necessarily make that commute because it was a long commute, but it's like to me a normal big city commute kind of thing. It's the thought of doing that and then like getting there by when did your school start?
8
like
a.m.
8 a.m. That's the wild part to me. It's like, man, I
was up.
You're leaving like
the girls who did makeup, they were probably getting up at 3.
Yeah, like I couldn't do that. I took a yellow bus, you know, until high school, and then took public transit. And my bus stop was like two houses down from my house on the corner. And so it's like, all right, cool. I get this one bus. I walk 1 block when I get off, and I'm at school. Great, done deal. We're all good. The thought of doing all that before the sun is out, jarring.
Then you go to school all day, then you come home.
Yeah, and then you gotta commute home.
Yeah,
it's not even like it's.
If you had an after school thing, you're coming home at like night, and then you're like, okay, time to do some homework because you know, yeah, you're grinding.
Insane.
It was grind time. Yeah,
wow. You know, it's fucking dark early in the wintertime, right? It's man.
Yeah, I showed Isaiah where they have the heaters for the train.
Yeah.
He's like, why aren't all these stations enclosed? That's a great question. For a reason out there, it's so rough.
So yeah, no, that was cool. And then your high school itself seems, you said it was like relatively new. I think it was built in like 2000 or something like that. So that's pretty cool. It's got like a really cool like little park. I guess I don't know if it was a baseball or just like
that's just our field.
Field.
Yeah, we had like a pretty big field space, and like the building's very glassy and modern looking. It's a Walter Payton College Prep.
Yeah, and it's is it fair to say it's like in the middle of downtown, like a downtown area?
I would say it's more like I mean, it's not South Loop, because when you say South Loop, people think of like Roosevelt. It's more like it's like near downtown, but it wouldn't. It's the same neighborhood as the what was it, the beercade that we went to?
Yeah, the headquarters.
Yeah, I forget the name of like what they actually call this neighborhood. They call it I don't know, because it's technically north of the Loop. Technically, it's like near the Gold Coast, near Old Town. It was near Cabrini Green back when that was. I mean, I don't know if they still call that area Cabrini Green. Cabrini Green had like a housing project that got shut down like a long time ago, like back when I was in school. But it's in that kind of area. So yeah, it's technically a little north of downtown, but it's like not that far from downtown. Like you can, I mean, you saw how long it took to get to Michigan Avenue, which is very downtown, as downtown as it gets. But yeah, we went to the mall, the Water Tower Mall, where I would frequent a lot. And the way this mall has fallen off, the fall off of this mall has to be studied. Oh my God. What did you think of it though? Because I'm sort of leading you down a path, but like, you give your thoughts, and then I'm gonna give my thoughts.
The Water Tower Mall felt like, obviously, I think across America in the last couple of years, a lot of malls have been.
We have to zoom out and talk about the state of our nation.
I feel like a lot of malls have been on the decline, right? Some malls have completely shut down.
Some malls have gotten hit harder than
others. Some malls are not what they used to be. Less patrons, less stores, different hours, closing early, doing whatever. I don't know. We went on a Sunday. Maybe that makes a difference. I don't know. I get the sense that it didn't, but I think this is a mall that I could see in its heyday could have been popping. It's not popping.
Oh, now there's
anymore.
not enough people. Before there were too many. There's not enough. Isaiah's always moving the goalpost. No, I mean, honestly, so many things. I mean,
I think in that whole mall, I feel like there's only like 20 stores.
Yeah,
tops.
like
and that's across 6 floors.
Like 9 floors.
If you count the like
what you can
fair,
yeah. So and I will say, like, this mall never had like an insane amount of stores, because it is still like a very it's small and vertical.
It's small footprint, but they build up. It's a
very vertical mall, which is cool about it. You can, at the time it was cool. It was less cool when we went, but there just weren't that many stores. And I think they had something that replaced American Eagle. I don't know if that wasn't American Eagle. I didn't really go into it, so I'm not sure.
Not only did they not have a lot of stores, they also then had they didn't have a lot of building storefronts in there physically, but then some of those were even empty. And so it's like, man, not only is it already small footprints, but then you can't even fill them all either. I forgot if they still had Forever 21. I'm kind of blanking on which stores, but the Wet Seal wasn't there anymore. Not that I'm shopping at Wet Seal at this point. I'm like 30 years old, but it's like Wet Seal wasn't there. Like some of the, they still had Aeropostale, so that's cool. I guess they still had Hollister. So they had a couple of and they had the Lego store. Lego store was always fun. Lego store was cool.
But they didn't have they used to have a Betsy Johnson. They didn't have that anymore. It just felt like y'all didn't have that many stores to begin with, and then you lost a couple of the main ones, and then the big L was and I don't know if it's just under construction, what the vibe is. I don't know. But they used to have a really big food court area, 2 kind of areas. I think one in the bottom and then one either in the middle or at the top, where it's I can barely even describe it because it was so long ago, but you'd have a card and kind of go around and pick out what you wanted to eat. And it was a sort of just it was a food court, but it was a bougier food court that you kind of checked into, and it was cool and it was different. It's it's kind of a different vibe. It is fun to see. I mean, I wasn't looking to have a great grandiose meal there or anything, but didn't have that.
No Jose Andre.
No, yeah. They didn't have that. I forget how, because now I'm I don't remember what's new, what's old. I don't know if Harry Carey always had his one of his restaurants there and his sports museum that you have to pay to go into, which is insane. I'm I'm not paying to look at this crap from Harry Carey. So it felt so washed. There was nothing to do there. And then, and this is I'm gonna sound a million years old. and I know people will be like, oh yeah, third place dying, third place never exists, all that. But like, we need to get back to having seating, because going back to that Jumping Bean story where they removed like they had like 2 or 3 tables in the middle and they got rid of that. And I'm like, damn, there wasn't even that much seating to begin with. Now there's even less seating. The way, like, I got some Garrett's, you got Auntie Anne's. There was nowhere to eat this thing.
Nowhere.
I felt like we were on punishment when we went to eat at the Flyer Tower Mall, because we like, eventually Isaiah figured out that like if you go way down to the bottom, there's tables where like one of the food things used to be that you could like sit at, but it's not like advertised at all in like the area. And it's just like, I mean, there's technically some places that you can sit, but there's not places to like sit and like eat or chill. There's like not table, like it's just, and there never really like was that big price, but especially when you lost that food court kind of area that you had, it's like, okay, well, so again, maybe that's what I did. So if I were to like do my half days here, this would suck. Like no one, we would not do this. It would be bad.
It was rough.
Yeah. So that wasn't great. But again, we mostly went to a lot of these things were like, hey, I'm showing you like where I used to hang out. Not necessarily like, sometimes those are also things that I think are good, but sometimes they're just things. The water tower I did think would be good to a degree. And it was kind of actively bad. I'm not gonna lie. It was not good. And it definitely had nothing on, our malls, which granted, but I mean, it's downtown Chicago. Like you would think that, like
you would think they're
going to eat a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never going to be as big as like the malls we have in the burbs because there's just more space.
Sure.
Like the ones we do our Christmas trip, which are nice malls. At the time they were nice malls. I don't know if they are now anymore. But it's just like, man, like this was like not. It just was not good. It was very underwhelming. So that was an L. Garrett still hits, so that's cool. And then we went down Michigan Ave because I want to take Isaiah to the Apple store because he loves Apple and enjoys popping into the stores. That's like, we talked earlier about like what we're into, and like that's one of your like, oh, I like the way I like looking at like crap. You're like, I like looking at like Apple stuff.
Yeah. Like seeing the different Apple
but
stores
on our way
travel
there,
places.
I wanted some coffee.
Yeah.
So walk me through.
Yeah,
the odyssey that we went on for this coffee.
We wanted some coffee. We were, it was, getting later in the day, a little tired, could use a little pick me up. We tried searching for a coffee shop, and this one store came up. It's like Ralph's Coffee, and we're like, oh, okay, maybe it's like a coffee shop, all right, whatever, fine, probably, like a sort of corner hole in the wall.
I was thinking too, Ralph's. I'm like the grocery store. I was because we have Ralph's here in California.
I had a lot of questions.
So I was like, oh, I don't know, like.
I assumed that it was nothing, right? I assumed it was going to be just like Joe Schmo's coffee, right? For all I know, it could have been called anything. But we're looking and you see the corner where it's supposed to be. I'm looking at my phone because you're looking like, I think it's somewhere over here. And I'm looking at my phone like, I think it's on that corner over there. And you're like, next to the Ralph Lauren store? And I was like, I think so, but I don't see a coffee shop anywhere. We cross the street and we're like walking up to the building. And we look inside and it's like there's a line of people in there. And we're like, oh, is this a coffee shop that's in the Ralph Lauren store?
Yeah.
And we go in and sure enough, it's a coffee shop
Ralph's
that's like
Ralph Lauren's coffee.
The Ralph's coffee is Ralph Lauren's coffee.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, this was probably the best coffee we had.
Honestly,
on this trip.
Is it the best? Let me think. Let me just scan my mind really quick. I think so.
I couldn't tell you a better coffee
because we weren't really like,
had.
it's like we hunted for. Oh, I think the wormhole coffee was pretty good.
I put the Ralph's over the wormhole.
That's
for
fair.
Sure.
That's fair, but it was about. I'm trying to think of what was good. I remember being like, oh, this is good. Yeah. I'm like, great. You passed. I was like, yay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the way where I was like, oh, this is so like dumb. It's whatever, we're on vacation or a little adventure or whatever you want to call it, right? It's like, okay, whatever, just getting some coffee. Like, I know it's gonna be overpriced because it's Ralph Lauren's coffee.
I actually don't even think it was. I don't think
it was
the coffee was over. Was it?
It was like $6.50 or something. Yeah.
Okay.
That's like a little, especially for Chicago.
I
was like, oh, you could buy, like I don't know. Like, I mean, it was cold brew, I think. So, but also. I don't know if it was. It doesn't matter.
It was like on par, I think, with the blue bottle we got.
It was, yeah, but blue bottle was overpriced.
It's fair. All right.
It was pricey, but it wasn't like obscene. It wasn't like $15 because I feel like with Ralph Lauren, because we looked at the merch they had in there. They had like a little little coffee cup. It's like $80. They had like an ugly sweater for like $150 because it's Ralph Lauren.
They had like a little water kind of like almost like a little water bottle kind of thing. It was like like 80.
Yeah, it was like $80 or something.
I'm like, for what?
For the name of Ralph Lauren. But so standing there, it's like a cute little place, but it also looks very like Instagram-y. Like you can tell it's like an Instagram trap kind of place. Like the way the booths, like it looks like it's staged for a photo in a weird way. So it definitely was giving like, it's giving tourist trap. It's giving like, you got scammed. But I'm like, whatever, I just want my coffee. Who cares?
Yep.
So we like got the coffee. I mean, it was a little pricey, whatever. We got the coffee, whatever. And then, yeah, I drank it. Excuse me. I drank this coffee and I'm like, damn, Ralph, I didn't know you could brew like that. I was like, especially too, because like Ralph Lauren clothes. I'm like, you don't make coffee. You know, I feel like it was like, it's giving like OG influencer, you know, it's like, oh, like you just put your name on it. You don't know anything about coffee. But I'm like, and obviously it's not like Ralph's out there. Do I think Ralph's fucking getting the beans?
Yeah,
and
he's not sourcing the beans.
He's sourcing the stuff.
Coffee.
No, but like, I'm like, damn, okay, Ralph, I see you. So yeah, honestly, dude, get Ralph's coffee. It hits. It hits pretty hard.
We had the cold brew and the cold brew was good. So
they have other like they have like an affogato and stuff like that too. But like I can't speak to any of that. But yeah, I'm like, this was actually really good. Which also that brings us to when we left and we went through those revolving doors. So tell me about the revolving doors and the doors in the city of Chicago in general.
I think I've come to the conclusion that because Chicago is, it's a windy city. When it gets cold, the wind picks up. The last thing these storefronts probably want is for somebody to open a door and it just gets like snatched and sent across the street, off the handles, whatever. Right? There's a slight exaggeration how windy I'm sure it really gets, but so all the major doors going in and out of buildings are like revolving doors. But these are some of the heaviest revolving doors I've ever used in my life. I'm a big boy. I got strength. I got weight behind me. I have to lean into these doors to get them going sometimes.
Yeah.
A child, you imagining high school, middle school Jay going in and out of the Nike store or something like that because you need a book bag or something, you would have to ask for help. I'm convinced there's no way.
I pushed it. If you
all your might.
If you push long enough, it like will slowly. Slowly kind of just moves.
You gotta hope someone else is coming out when you're going in.
I forgot there was one of the first ones we encountered where I was like, I told you about it. It's not like you didn't believe me, but I think I was like, oh yeah, it's kind of heavy, but again, I'm smaller than you, so it's like there's stuff that's heavy for me all the time. Where you're like, you pick it up with ease. I was like, oh, it's kind of heavy.
This door,
and then you went through it, and you were like, what the fuck was that? Yeah, just heavy doors. The revolving doors are stiff, and the doors are heavy. Like you really have to put like when you pull a door. Isaiah at one point said that he felt like Kratos.
Yeah, I felt like Kratos when he was walking into that central chamber. He's like pushing both doors open with hand back flat. Like you gotta be on 10.
The doors are intense.
To get these doors open. And doing that with like your hands full, God forbid you've been shopping, you're carrying book bag or anything else, you got just a weight on you.
You rock your shoulder into it and you keep pushing.
Fags. It was insane.
I will say too, not to make this like, this is just a recounting of the events. It's not Chicago Drag Fest, though some stuff came up in the trip. That's all. But one of the things definitely was, and a lot of cities are guilty of this. Stuff closes like a little too early downtown too. Like it was rough being at like Michigan Avenue by like 6 o'clock because like, not that I was going to spend a lot of time in the Nike store, but like we got to the Nike store like right before it closed. I didn't know that, but the guy was like, "Oh, if you want to buy something, like kind of buy now." Yeah. I'm like, "Damn, 6 o'clock." I'm like, that kind of sucks. So I definitely was a little bummed by some of the hours. Especially of like downtown stuff. Other stuff, some stuff could be really late, which is nice. And like not everything closed at 6 because like we went to like the Apple store was open till like probably 8 or something. Which also the Apple store, honestly, I hadn't been there in a while. I pitched it to Isaiah as the Deadly Apple Store because it is designed where the roof is meant to look like a MacBook. So it's like a flat, long roof. And in the winter, it gets like icicles on it a lot. And because it's like also how it's positioned, there ends up being a lot of like times they either close it or they have like a lot of signage about like the dangers of the icicles. So it's like the Deadly MacBook Store. Where like this was not designed with like where it is in mind. Like, I forgot, what do they call it? Like contextual already. They talked about that in the architecture. Yeah. This was not contextual architecture. No. They did not take into account the fact that there was like icicles forming all the time. But I hadn't been there in a while. I don't even know. I'm not sure I'd been there before, but I was really impressed with like the look of it. I love the design of the Apple Store downtown Chicago.
A lot of Apple Store. Again, one of the reasons why I really like specifically like seeking out at least like one Apple Store in like any big or major city kind of we go by is that they're all going to be fairly the same. Like they're all going to have that stupid HomePod mini flower wall collage. They're all going to have like the AirPod Maxes and like a little flower shape on the wall. There's going to be some Apple Arcade section in the back. There's going to be the wall of cases. Like there's going to be all these elements that are at every one. But the store design, the layout, the footprint, how you get in, how you leave, that's all going to always be different and kind of tailored and unique. And that's kind of like what I find interesting about them. It's that like familiar with unique that you get from it. And so I thought this one was really cool because it's like it's built the way the store is built. It's almost got like this sort of stage, like amphitheater kind of vibe to it, because like you come in and there's like stairs that take you down to the lower. So if you come in from the top floor, which is like the ground floor of Michigan, just like, you know, elevated up a little bit, you can go down the stairs and it kind of reminds me like a theater, like you're in the not bleachers of the theater, but I forget the balcony of the theater. Balcony, and you kind of go down to the ground floor, which is like more along the like water, the Chicago River kind of level. And
as you're going down too, something that really struck me is that you don't see any of the products for like a long time.
No, you see the water, you see the Chicago River, which is also
glass.
Cool.
It's like glass, but also like tiered.
Yeah.
In a way that has like almost like a hidden compartment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice. Like, and the way they have like when they do like the demos, like that, the design of it kind of looked like a Mac computer, which I thought was also kind of cool. So, yeah, it looked good. Oh, this was a fun little time to check it out.
Always fun.
Like we had our Ralph's coffee, our $1 Million Ralph's coffee. We had our went to the Apple store. Yeah, it was a good time. And then we kept walking down towards where our hotel was, which was downtown. And we decided to go to the El Grito Festival, which apparently is new. I think people said it was like the first year. I don't know if that's accurate. I didn't really look too heavily into it. But yeah, and people have been talking to us about this festival like the whole week, and they're like, watch out for the traffic, because El Grito. I was like, okay, like we're taking the train, so I'm like, it doesn't really matter. But I'm like, okay. But yeah, it was really like fun. They had, I still don't know if this is an official parade or not. Like the parade, I'm like, is this like a sanctioned parade? Because like they didn't have block,
but they did have the cops there, like kind of blocking traffic, guiding traffic a little bit.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know what it was, but it was dope. Like everyone showed up.
It was sweet.
With their flags, they were honking their horns. They were burning out their tires. We saw two snakes.
We saw two snakes, just at least one woman like walking around, just like a snake wrapped around her like shoulders and everything. And it didn't even dawn on me that it was like a real snake until like she was like a foot away from us too. Because I was like, there's no way someone's walking around with this giant snake. Nope, definitely just walking around with a giant snake downtown Chicago.
Oh yeah, it's kind of implied, but the El Grito is a Mexican festival, so it's like they had Mexican flags, and like I didn't actually state that explicitly. Yeah, it was fun. The little festival had like some little shops, had a DJ, had a live music thing. They had a big food and drink section too, but we didn't really explore that because we had already eaten or we were about to eat. Also at Pequod, so yeah, it was fun. It was cool, and the tickets are $10, so it's like. Yeah,
super affordable.
Pretty chill to just show up and
they
go.
do have the VIP.
VIP and the VIP.
Which gets you, what did we determine it gets you? It gets you a VIP entrance, which
you don't need.
At the time that we went, both entrances were empty, so that wouldn't have saved you anything. And then there's like an exclusive VIP bar that you can purchase your drinks from or something like that, or like a lounge it was a VIP lounge, I think, like a lounge area with its own dedicated bar. That you still have to buy your drinks. And it's like, oh man, a VIP ticket doesn't even come with like a free drink voucher.
And
you had
like some exclusive like vendors too. But yeah, the real thing that I feel like, I didn't get the VIP, so I can't really talk too much shit about it because I don't know what it has. But the thing that seemed, I'm hating from outside the club a little bit. But the thing that seemed like kind of mid to me is that they don't include any aspect of like a drink or food ticket. I think, so again, $10 for general admission for one day. If you do like 2 days, it's $18, so like you can save a little bit by buying like the bundle. And then for VIP, it's 1 day is $100 and 2 days would be $175. I think with the VIP, like looking at that $100 price point, if you just add like food or drink ticket, I think it's totally valid because it's like, okay, you'll probably spend some money there, so then it's like you can kind of just like already have the money almost like pre-spent. But other than that, it's like I don't know about that. So you get good viewing. It's like premier viewing areas access to. So it's like you kind of get like a better way to look at like the live music and all that. Air conditioned restrooms, exclusive air conditioned restrooms, and then exclusive. Yeah, the fact that I think it's a little whack that they don't give you any food or drink ticket. I feel like with the food or drink ticket, easy dub to me. It's like, oh yeah, this is what we're doing, and you could So I don't know if you did VIP. let me know. Maybe it was fucking lit. And it's like maybe it was like
maybe we're missing out.
Maybe it was like the
Who
best
knows?
deal that you could get that weekend. I don't know. The VIP didn't seem like it had quite enough juice to it. I don't think. Yeah. Then we went to Pequod's. It was my first time ever at Pequod's. Many Chicagoans says it's the best deep dish in the city, and I am inclined to agree so far. There's one other name that gets thrown out. I forget what the name is, but Pequod's. Pequod's one other one, and
Pizza
then
something.
I don't know.
I think Edwin mentioned it.
I just literally don't know the name. But yeah, and then there's the basic ones like Giordano's and Connie's, which are still really good. It's just that like they're, much more chainy than like Pequod's is. Yeah, I thought Pequod's was dope. One of my friends pushed us to get the reservation. Like, you need the reservation. You will be waiting like 2 hours if you don't. So I said, F it, okay, we'll get the reservation. Definitely glad we got it because it was packed in there.
Even with the reservation.
Some things may be on the decline. Some things may not be as good as they used to be. Pequod's doing fine. Like, they are making money.
They got no worries.
If Pequod's can't make it, the economy is fucked. If Pequod's can't make it, because Pequod's, were packed.
This was like a Sunday, right? I think it was a Sunday. Maybe the Saturday.
So. It's tough. The other days blend together, but.
Or maybe Sunday, maybe Monday. Either way, we went late.
Illuminati's is the other one that people mention a lot.
Okay.
Never had Illuminati's. Maybe Illuminati's eats Pequod's. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
we went to Pequod's late. It was fairly. We walked in thinking that it was like, a normal pizza shop kind of size. Like, there's a couple tables in the front, maybe a few more tables in the back. We found out that there's a whole upstairs with more tables. Yeah. And this was still like, even with our reservation, we had to wait like a good 15, 20 minutes to get seated. And the
upstairs also had a back area.
Yeah.
So it was
huge. Was filled. Like, this place was full.
Yeah.
And the pizza's not cheap.
Yeah.
It's not, crazy expensive, but like, it's not like this is a Little Caesars or something where people are coming in, throwing $10 and feeding a family of 4. It's like, you're coming in, you're getting pizza, maybe you get a drink, maybe you get some appetizers or something to go with it, and you're sitting and you're chilling, and like they are set. And it was also to go. While we were walking up there, I saw someone walk out with like 2 pizza boxes, like going home, and I'm like, man, they are making money over fist.
Yeah, I think they're going to be just fine. Yeah, it was really good. I don't have a lot else to say about it. I know you, looking back, kind of wish that we got the flat.
Yeah.
That's a big point of contention.
That's the only thing.
Isaiah claims that he never said he wanted deep dish. I said that he did. He did concede.
I concede that I asked for deep dish. I think the deep dish is fine, but ultimately it's still just deep dish.
Admittedly,
and I think that the thin crust pizza would have been, I think, more enjoyable.
I would have been down for the thin for sure, because it's like, we don't really eat deep dish like that. But I will say, admittedly, I was curious about what the deep dish would be like. And I do like deep dish. It's not like I hate deep dish. I know some people don't like it, even from Chicago. Might be like, oh, I don't really like it. It's like too thick. It's like, it's fun. It's like a thick pie pizza. Like cheese. I love choking on that cheese.
Oh, I hate choking on the cheese.
Now, see, what do you mean? That's all part of it. You kind of feel like it's like, ooh, it's like a little, like, you ever like eat a meal and you're like, this is dangerous. Like, that's
why do I want to do that? I gotta eat every day of my life. I don't want to feel in danger.
It's like, ooh, like, we might not fucking make it out of this pizza. Like, it's good.
This pizza's gonna kill me.
Yeah, it's pizza that can kill you. It's the staple of the city. Anyway, so yeah, I do enjoy a deep dish. But having it every now and then, it's like fine. It's a really specific kind of pizza. But yeah, Pequod's hit. Shout out to Pequod's. Then we did our museum days. Hit the Art Institute, hit the Field Museum, and then we also did Wicker Park that day as well. Art Institute Chicago. I guess what shout out to the what pieces that you, because you're not a big art person, but you said you like seeing
I'm not a big iconic art person,
things in real life,
but I like seeing I love seeing famous pieces in real life. Seeing the was it American Gothic? American Gothic. I think that was probably the best thing I saw. I was like, oh man, it's the dude, the farmer. I seen it in the commercials making memes of it. Simpsons, Family Guy, everyone's always making memes of it. This is dope. Seeing it in person, cool. I'm always surprised at how much smaller these like famous paintings are compared to what I imagine in my mind.
The Mona Lisa is tiny.
I hear the Mona Lisa is small.
Is it the size of a folder?
The Van Gogh like self portraits are small.
Yeah, some of them.
The 2 big ones, which is the what was the Paris field?
A Rainy Day on Paris. Were you talking about the one we saw though? The one with the pointillism?
Yeah, we saw that.
Yeah, but is that the one you're talking about, or the one we didn't see?
That was one that we saw that surprised me at how big it was, as well as the Washington crossing the Delaware.
Oh yeah, that was dope. Over at the Met.
Huge. Which is not Chicago, but still.
I'm trying to get the name of
how small these pieces really are.
It's Sunday, cool. The large one that you're talking about is called. I always forget the name because it's partially French. A Sunday on La Grande Jatte.
Okay.
I'm not saying that right, but it's JAT. And Grand is with an E. That one's dope because it's huge and it's fun. I was a little bummed that I want to say the painting is called Rainy Day in Paris. I'm like quickly trying to Google painting. I guess if you type in Rainy Day in Paris, it just is like, what's the yes. Paris Street Rainy Day is what it's called. That's another iconic one we have. It's also large. It's on loan to the Louvre. I was like, the Louvre has enough. But, okay, Louvre, if you're broke, just say that. Why do you need our painting? I don't know, maybe we got some of their stuff in exchange, probably, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe they did I don't know. I'm just talking shit to talk shit, but, whatever. Like the Louvre didn't have enough going for it. Okay. Yeah. I'm like, this is one of our only things. Anyway, Chagall windows are also fun. Let's see. Cool. Is there anything that I really... there's one piece that I was gonna hunt down, but I was like too lazy to like do it of like in the modern art wing. But just cool times overall. French Impressionism, the modern wing. Got to share the family program sector where I used to work.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, they really souped that thing up. Yeah, the little babies. So cute.
The like physical art section.
The touch wall?
Yeah. That was cool. It was cool. I still
some really heavy doors in that area. I'll tell you. I should have had you lift the door for the bathroom. And I'm like, like little kids are trying to navigate this giant door. I
still say that, I think I've complained enough to you about this that I think it's just this is the kind of art that I just don't find.
Oh, the modern stuff, like some of the modern stuff.
I don't like the art that's just dicks and tits. Like
right.
I understand the human body is, it's a beautiful thing. And if you can capture it, that's like shows your artistic talent and this, that, and the third, all of that. I can understand that. I don't enjoy I enjoy the art that is more, again, the Rainy Day in Paris, the cafe.
You're an art prude, yeah.
Yeah, I guess. What's the cafe one? The corner shop cafe.
Nighthawks. I believe is what it's called.
That's super cool. The dots one, the American Gothic, like those I think are always super cool and just to me more interesting. But I don't have a artistic background like that.
Yeah,
I don't understand
anyone is free to have their
talent that goes
art.
Into capturing the aerial.
Yeah, it's like It's like I drew these titties from memory.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what do you mean?
Exactly.
Obviously a lot of art is definitely dicks and tits, which is funny because we were like leaving one of the exhibits and you turned to me and you're like, it's just a bunch of dicks and titties.
There was there was a whole hall we went down where every single thing was just dicks and tits.
I really went down different halls because I didn't see any of that.
Yeah, it's because it was towards the end we were kind of getting hungry and a little fussy, so we were looking to go. But man, yeah, there
is quite a lot of that in art. I will say
there is.
So yeah, that's valid. But yeah, seeing Nighthawks is fun. Nighthawks is always cool. It's a good time. Yeah, there's just some great pieces in the exhibit. I like the architecture stuff as well that you can check out.
In the Field Museum. Yeah,
Field Museum. So this was the main thing. I was like, you got to see Sue. You're in Chicago. You got to see Sue. Who is Sue? Let's see. It's a little bit of a. It's like you come back from the field trip and then it's like they make you do the score. What'd you learn? And now it's fucking like you just can't just have a fun time. It had to be about. So tell me, who is Sue?
Sue is.
So you can pass.
Sue is the fucking baddest bitch in Chicago. Apparently, no. Sue is the world's most complete dinosaur skeleton. T-Rex specifically.
The largest, most extensive, and best preserved T-Rex
skeleton. Which
90% of the skeleton is intact.
That is a very creative omission to how much of the skeleton, how much is actually Sue and how much is made to complete Sue. You know what I mean? They don't tell you that. They just say it's the most complete. They don't say how much is there. But in the Field Museum, when you go to the Sue exhibit, you do get to see like they have the body, right, the giant T-Rex skeleton, and then separate from that they have the actual dinosaur head skeleton, like the skeleton, the head skeleton, the head skull. There we go. That's what I was looking for. The skull that is on the body.
That's actually really funny. That's true though. I was like, I couldn't think of the word either. So I was like, you just suffered over there.
The skull that's on the T-Rex body in the exhibit is a replica.
Yes.
And the real skull is like, 10 feet away from it and like its own kind of thing. And they say they have it there so that it's easier for scientists or whoever to sort of like run tests on it or, do research against it. And things like
and
that.
it's too fragile to put on the skeleton.
Yes.
90 to 95% of her bones are real.
Okay.
Exceptions are a few vertebrae, bits of rib cage, and arm, and her left foot.
Okay.
So,
Isaiah, whole foot is
it's not polite.
Less than 5%. That's crazy.
Okay, there are fucking human beings where you don't know. You're not asking where all these parts came from. It's not polite to ask Sue. Like, is that real? Is it her real foot? Come on, Isaiah.
No, that's fair. Okay, now that's a lot. That's
because 90%,
much bigger.
But I will say,
than I
for people like Isaiah, I wish that the museum spent a little bit more time getting into that stuff because I think you're someone that enjoys that.
Real. It doesn't look real. When I think of what a millions of years old skeleton would look like, I don't see this.
She's as real as you and me.
It looks like
I will say
plaster.
too, something funny as fuck is I'm like, oh, Sue's not as big as I remember her being. And part of that is that like I saw most of my time looking at Sue, I was a child. Yeah. So I'm like, Sue ain't really that. I mean, she's big. She's a T-Rex. So that's pretty big. But in my head, she was like larger. Like when I saw her, I was like, she ain't quite as big as I thought she would be. I thought she was going to be like wildly big.
Yeah. I think for me, I also had the same expectation.
If she was alive moving around, you'd feel like she was big.
Oh yeah, I'd be terrified. But I think
they should have added something like that to the exhibit. That would have been fun to kind of like really
almost like replicate her.
For how... Like you go in and then you can kind of like some type of like AR kind of vibe.
That'd be cool.
Of her like chasing you or something. I don't know. Oh, also that's another thing too. Yo, Sue got an upgrade. She live in large in the Field Museum now. Because back in the day, when you went to see Sue, you just walked to the museum and then Sue was like there. And then it was still lit. Sue was there. You take a picture with Sue. You hang out with Sue. Yay. But now she got her whole own little area. Yeah. She's like part of timeline time. And they're like, oh, let's take your picture because I want to take a picture of what you looked like before you met Sue. Yeah. Like, I don't know what the point is. But but Sue's cool. I guess like, I don't know. Was Sue a little over? Maybe I overhyped Sue. But I think Sue's pretty cool. I don't know.
I'm not going to say you overhype Sue because the idea of looking at a T-Rex
the baddest bitch in Chicago is so funny.
Yeah, man. You fucking got that city in a chokehold.
Yeah.
The thought of looking at a real T-Rex skeleton is incredible. Okay. I think the little kid in me, it's like a monster truck. It's like, that's just fucking cool.
Okay.
The sort of theatrics to Sue was more the letdown where it's like, yeah, why did they have me stand in line to take this photo before I can go in there? They got this like, it's dark in there.
They were doing a little too much with Sue, a little bit.
They upgraded her, but then they also like, because of that upgrade, it's like there's more theatrics to it. And I wish it didn't have the theatrics, but still conceptually just seeing a apparently 90+% fully real, put together T-Rex skeleton is incredible, and I am glad I got to do it. I'm glad I could say I did it. If I ever go back, maybe I'll do it again. Just again, take some kids or a niece or nephew or something there. That'd be cool. Yeah,
Sue's cool.
Yeah, Sue's cool.
And then what was else? Oh, something that I want to touch on before we move away from the museums is I took Isaiah to the underground adventure.
The underground adventure is the scariest fucking thing I've ever seen in a museum.
Okay, so this is so funny because we got the city pass where you can like buy a city pass exists in a lot of major cities where you can like buy the city pass and you can either get like the medium size or like the large size, like, and have like X amount of attractions, and it usually comes default with one or two that you like can't change, and then it gives you like a list of like and these ones, and like that's how we did the architecture tour, which we need to talk about too because I forgot for us to talk about it. Architecture tour and like other stuff, Skydeck, we'll get to all that, Field Museum. So I got like one of those. So for like some of those, you have to like do a reservation. Other ones you can just walk up and just scan it. And if the art institute, they just scanned it and let's walk in. At the Few Museum, they scanned it and then they give you like a ticket. And it was funny because they gave us the ticket and they said like, oh, this includes like the cashier or whatever. She's like, oh, this includes the Underground Adventure. And then and I think there's maybe like a picture on there where or there was like, you had made a comment about what it was. You said
a giant ant.
Yeah.
I made a comment that like, oh look, yeah, it's got you next to the little giant ant, or the big giant ant.
And then I was quick to correct you. I said, actually, it's not a giant ant. It's a regular size ant.
Yeah.
They shrink you down.
They shrink you down as you go into the exhibit.
Yeah. Which, you're not gonna lie, the cashier seemed amused. I was proud of her today.
Yeah, she went with it.
Yeah, she was like, yeah,
cool.
I was like, okay. I was like, so yeah, the Underground Adventure is that. Like, it's kind of, and it's all ages, but it's kind of meant more for kids. Like, it's like, okay, you shrink down.
I don't know what kid.
They like, you walk through, kind of like in a Disney-esque fashion, you like walk through an area and they're like, we're shrinking you down. They go, you walk through like a hall of like mirrors where they're like, you're getting smaller and smaller. And then when you leave, you see a penny that like looks to you, it looks big because they shrunk you down.
Yeah,
like that's okay.
Give you the scale
Yes.
of how big you are.
You shrink to 1/100th of your size and you examine soil from a new perspective. That is the pitch of this exhibit.
Yes.
Isaiah, what did you see here?
I saw incredibly scary creatures that I'm someone, I'm not like an arachnophobia or anything like that. Like I don't have arachnophobia or like anything like that, but I don't like bugs. Like inherently, I just don't like bugs. If a bug is outside and we're outside, cool. That's your home. That's where you belong. That's fine. If I'm inside my house and I see a bug, that's when you gotta die. Ain't no releasing you back into the wild or anything. You just gone. You just gotta go. And so I understand that this is all fake. I understand that. But conceptually, still seeing a giant, slightly animatronic spider.
He's not giant.
Oh, sorry. Seeing a life-size, slightly animatronic spider.
Basically, like, this is Grounded, the real life IRL experience of Grounded.
Yeah, no, and it
game.
was terrifying because it's like, if you want to make it real shiny and plastic looking, some of these things that they had in there, these ants, these termites, these spiders, worms, they were looking really real.
They look real, yeah.
And it's like, that's too much for me.
It says, we upon like entering and like pitching what it was and then kind of remembering like, Isaiah doesn't really like any of this. But let's just walk through it really quickly because it's like, it takes like 10 seconds to walk through. It's small. It's a small exhibit. Again, at the time as a kid, I thought it was really big because it's like, it felt like bigger.
Lost.
No, yeah. So the pitch on the Field Museum website, it says, once you're down to size, you'll meet a creepy, crawly cast of characters, including a giant mole cricket and a wolf spider.
Yeah. Why the fuck would I want to do that?
So that you can learn about the diversity of life that soil
there you go.
supports and how every new species needs soil to survive and thrive. Isaiah doesn't want these species to thrive.
No,
He wants them dead. I was at the wolf spider. Scary. Like, because he does move a bit.
I was beelining for that exit at that point.
Yeah, Isaiah did not enjoy the Underground Adventure. I do think probably many a child cries in the Underground Adventure.
I
have to imagine.
I
went as a kid and I was like, oh, it's cool. Like it's big. Actually, I'm small. But yeah, it was really funny though because I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I guess before we mentioned Wicker Park, the architecture tour.
Yeah, the architecture tour was dope. We got on the shoreline. We got on a little boat. They take you up and down the Chicago River and like kind of like point out cool buildings, sort of like some historical architecture elements to it, fun facts, things like that.
I mentioned Batman a couple times, which is fun.
Yeah. Where the Dark Knight, like the tower where
Wayne Enterprises.
Yeah, there you go. And things like that.
The bank that Joker robbed.
That's cool. Yeah, the bank that Joker robs at the very beginning of the Dark Knight. He pointed that out. Now, granted, he pointed it out, but we're on the river, so we don't see like the actual like street or like hole that the bus pulls out of or anything. Like, you know what I mean? But still cool, still dope. I don't know. It was really cool. I am not a like, again, huge architecture person or anything like that, but I do like the sort of fun factification of places that I go to. And so it was really cool hearing how this building actually had to fight a legal battle to be this close to the river, or like they had to do this like crazy technology when they were building the building so that it like went down to the bedrock, and like because it had like a weird fork, and like the shape of the building causes like weird things with winds, and so they do this to like counteract the sway that would happen. All that stuff is always really cool. I don't know if you said you never did it before, right?
I've never done it. I think it's good. I think you should do it if you're in Chicago. And I think if you live in Chicago and have never done it, I think it's worth doing, which is a rarity because for the most part, like, I mean, it's obviously like what you're interested in, but I think even if you don't love architecture, like who doesn't like being on a boat with nice views? I mean, yeah. To that point, some people get nauseous on boats. So like, I know there's always someone that might not like it, but I think if you're down for like, it's a pro if you're into architecture at all, but even if you're not, it's like a nice boat, good views. And I was really impressed, and I thought it was cool that they have a bathroom on the boat, which I didn't know that they would have. I didn't end up using the bathroom because I used it before I went on the boat for that reason. I'm like, I don't want to just be on this boat for 90 minutes. There's a 45 and there's a 90 option. And they have a bar there, which I don't know if they have like, not like if they have coffee or anything there. The same deal. We got the coffee before. But it's just cool that you can get a drink and like you just kind of kick your feet. It's nice. And they have a good sort of like, it's not an umbrella, but they have like it's partially covered. Yeah. So if you want to be outside of the sun, because it was very sunny when we went, and I forgot my sunglasses in the hotel. So we were like more towards the back where it's like, oh, you get the sunlight, but like you're not like having it all in your face, which is cool. Yeah. And it was really pretty. It was really fun. I think it was a good time. And then Wicker Park, I used to go there a lot to hang out for fun, shop, drink coffee, do some work, buy some stuff.
Which one was this? This is
we're at the DeLorean. The wormhole, yeah.
Okay,
was the coffee shop. And it's also where we went to the exchange, but we were talking about the exchange. Yeah, it's cool. You know, Wormhole still hits. There was like a good amount of seating, which is a little bit of a rarity because it's a pretty popular coffee shop to work out of.
Yeah. It's that very like nerdy indie kind of coffee shop space where it's like, oh, they have like a NES in the corner on a CRT TV that apparently I assume you can play. Yeah. They have, posters on the wall of like local bands, or like, bands that kind of came through, as well as like movie posters for like some old classic movies and stuff. It was all really cool. And I mean, it was a good amount of people. I'm not going to say it wasn't full. Yeah. But like it was active. At least like a dozen people in there by the time we left.
A lot of which were working. So, which also we just had the sofa. So it's not like that's a big work spot anyway, but it was just nice to like hang out in there. We like popped in a couple of like bookstores. You got a Chicago dog at Devil Dogs, which we also tasted another dog the next day too. But Chicago dog. What is your Chicago dog review?
It's a solid dog. Yeah.
Are you gonna start putting pickles in your hot dog now?
No, I'm not gonna start putting pickles on my hot dog.
Would you get a Chicago dog? Like now, like you've had one. Would you ever like order one again?
Damn. I'm gonna say no, only because
you like Bappers?
I'm a basic dog person. Give me a hot dog with ketchup and mustard, and I'm good to go. I don't even need like onion, relish, any of that. Just give me ketchup, mustard. If I only could get one, just give me mustard.
You were very surprised by our relish.
Yeah, your relish is like stupid green. It's like your shirt green. It's like it's
cartoon green. Like it's like pure green. Like it's green number 5 went into the
jarring. It felt fake. You know,
it looks fake. Yeah, the relish is real, and Sue's one of her legs is real.
Yeah, exactly.
One of her feet is real. Yeah, it's fun. Chicago Dog's cool. I respect the Chicago Dog. Other stuff we did, we hit up Navy Pier, mostly to see my aunt, but because like no shade to, actually some shade to Navy Pier. I don't find it that interesting, and I never did. They used to have an IMAX theater there that they now closed down, but it was so fucking cool. It was like the best.
Oh, that's cool.
Best IMAX. But yeah, not much going on in Navy Pier. It's to me, it's a very unspecific tourist trap. Like I don't feel like it has a lot in the way of like shopping or a lot in the way of food. It kind of just is. I mean, I know some people might want to do the Ferris wheel or whatever, but like it just doesn't really have a lot to do there. But that being said, they did add one thing to do, which is what do they call it? Flyover?
Flyover.
Yeah, which the architecture tour guide mentioned that too. They also changed. They used to have like a garden area up top. It's now like a light. Yeah. Like a light experience, like a kind of like a projectory light experience, which I'm like, I'm not interested in this. I'm going to miss my plants, which were probably also fake, but they felt real if they, Flyover was, what would you describe those kinds of experiences?
It's like the Disney Soar ride, if you ever did that, or I think maybe they rebranded that even to the Avatar ride now.
It's like a full screen.
It's a big screen, like 4D kind of ride.
Yeah, they're moving the chair around.
You're buckled into your little seat, and they kind of like put you out so that like, you know, anywhere you look, presumably you're just seeing this big screen, and it's like taking you through like almost like a drone ride of Chicago, telling a story as you kind of like fly from building to building. You go in and out of some buildings, which is really cool. You get some awesome views, and they even have the thing where it's like, oh, like when you go over the river, there's like mist that they spray on you, or like when you are doing a nosedive from the top of Sears Tower or something like that. It's like, oh, they like tilt you forward enough that you get that feeling of going down, which is really cool.
Maybe throw a little bit of wind in there, that kind of vibe. Yeah. It is, if you are already at Navy Pier, I think you could do it.
Want to spend the money.
Yeah, it's expensive. It was like $30. Like, expensive for what it is. Because I don't feel like I had $30 of fun. No, I feel like I had 15 of fun.
It's
max.
A solid 15, maybe 20-minute like experience. And that's like including some of the, oh, here's a safety video that we're gonna play
and they
for
do
you
like
beforehand.
a vibe video where they're like, oh, we're kind of setting up like the tone of like introducing you to some of the characters you'll see on the ride, almost because they had stuff like, you know, it was basically trying to like represent like, hey, I will say it was kind of good for conveying some of the vibes of Chicago, which granted, like I think the vibes that they went for, you could say for like a lot of cities, like hard work, like, you know, but I do think like as a Chicagoan, I felt like there was a degree of accuracy. It didn't tell the whole story of like the city or anything like that, but it's like, oh yeah, there are a lot of like family businesses. There is like a hustle culture here. There's like a grind culture here. There's like a love of the arts and a love of sports, and like they, you know, touch on some of those things. So it felt like kind of intro video to Chicago in some ways. It was okay. Like it was like it was fine. But if you never did it,
I'm still singing that song in my head.
Yeah, Chicago. Yeah, they had like the children's choir singing some song. If you never did it, like you'd be fine. But if you find yourself at Navy Pier, which like is probably, especially if you're from there, it's like you might just have to take somebody there, and they're like, oh, I want it. You know, it's like it could be something to do. I wasn't mad at it, but it's like, oh, this was a lot of money.
You don't need to go out of your way to do it.
No, definitely not. Like save it for when you like your hand is forced, and then you can just kind of like, oh, okay, cool, it's interesting. I think part of that too is it's just never gonna be that exciting if it's not made more ridey to me. Sure. Like this is a chill ride. It's not a thrill ride. Yeah. And if they made it like a thrill ride, I think I'd be a lot more into it. But I get why they didn't, because like, we just want you to kind of like enjoy looking around and, you know, make it more family friendly so that, you know, everyone can ride and hang out. We also did we ate at Jimmy's Gyros and Grill, or Gyros. I don't know how people say it. People say different
Gyros,
ways.
but yeah.
And this is a place that is downtown Chicago, very hole in the wall. The inside of it was actually bigger than I remember. It kind of is like hallway shaped, but but the hallway is like wide-ish. Like you can stand two people next to each other, maybe even three, and like walk
They have
forward.
like seating on both left and right wall, and there's still room to like go down the middle for sure. So.
Yeah, definitely. And I used to eat here sometimes when I worked at the Art Institute, or if I just found myself needing to eat downtown. It's a good spot. And honestly, Jimmy's still hits. Like
Jimmy's was good.
Jimmy's was legit as fuck. Yeah. And I think it was a good representation of some of the best like American food that we do. It's like a lot of neighborhoods have a Jimmy's. Like maybe it might not be called Jimmy's, but it's like a place, you know, back when in the day, which they still have this chain because they had a couple locations, but I grew up in Brighton Park and we had at the time a Nikki's Hot Dogs. Nikki's Hot Dogs was so fucking good. I ate so much Nikki's Hot Dogs. It was awesome. I would love to go back there again, but they closed down a long time ago. And the different Nikki's taste like slightly different. So I know there's another one like an Archer or something, but I'm like, I don't really rock with that one. So, but this is like a good example of the kinds of food that we do. You know, like the burgers, the hot dogs, the pizza puff. I didn't realize that you never had a pizza puff. So
no, I never had a pizza puff. It's a big. I
love a pizza puff.
It's like a Hot Pocket mixed with a
Hot Pocket.
What is it?
Pizza roll.
Tostino pizza roll.
Yeah. Like, if you embiggened a Tostito's pizza roll, it would be a pizza puff. It's fucking great.
It was great.
I love pizza puff. Can you get pizza puff even in Los Angeles?
Probably. The food's good.
A website called Puff Finder came up. This might be something else actually. Yeah. Let me not look at this right now.
Did he say? Oh
my gosh. That's how they got him. Anyway,
I also got the Italian beef, which is pretty good.
Yeah, Italian beef is a classic in Chicago.
Yeah, not that you necessarily like compared it to a hoagie or what I described as a hoagie.
I kind of did.
It's more like to me it's closer to like a roast beef sandwich than a hoagie from like what in Buffalo we called hoagies growing up, like a steak hoagie or something like that. But it was still really good. The meat was dope. The juice was dope. Fries were good. We had, again, ample seating, quick service, like that. Love that.
Also, the fries in Chicago, I would say the fries in Chicago be hitting.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us.
We had one bad fry.
Yeah. It's a lot of like, it's not breaded, but it has like a breaded vibe to it because it kind of like the
It must be that they just like are cooking it in the same grease as, I don't know, other stuff or something. I don't know, but it works. Whatever it is, yeah.
It's really good, yeah. So, yeah, it was just a good meal. I had a Chicago dog there, and then I had the pizza puff. And honestly, like if I could, I really wish I could go back. We was late in our trip, so I didn't have an opportunity to eat again. But I unlocked a memory that I used to often eat a chicken pita. And I'm like, oh my God, I'd love to try the chicken pita again because I used to love a chicken pita. Also, something that's really exciting about you now having gone to Chicago, because even though, you know, it's one trip, you're not going to see everything in one trip, you know, blah, 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 for everybody, right? But you got like I think you got a good breadth of like, this is a quick run through of everything that I know, at least, which is not everything, right? But it's like my Chicago experience. I feel like you've basically had my Chicago experience. But now what we can do is the real fun begins, Isaiah, because you can now go with me to these places in Los Angeles that claim they do Chicago style food. Like I Googled, because I was looking around for this pizza puff. What you know about Juicy J's Chicago Eats here in LA? Also, Juicy J like the rapper or just a man named Juicy J? Yeah. But also, tell me why temporarily closed, reopens on the 30th. My question is, why were you closed?
Are you closed? Yeah. There's an orange flag.
Were you cleaning up a little? I mean, hey, at least they got it. Anyway, so, but they have I hit the menu. They have exactly what we're looking for. They got the Italian beef. Right. They got the they got the Chicago dog. They got the Chicago Polish. Polish is also big for us as well. I'm looking for they gotta have that pizza puff, right? The original pizza puff is there. A Chicago classic since 1930. The original pizza puff is a fan favorite and can be eaten as a snack or meal.
All right.
Yeah. So
we'll try it.
I'm down to try Juicy J. We'll make sure we have a day off the next day in case we go south, you know. But there's also another place that we saw not too far from like where we're at, like somewhere up in the valley where we're at in LA. That mentioned it was also like a Chicago bar or something like that. I'm like, oh, so now you can like check it out and you can help me gauge the authenticity or not. So
cool.
We now have that. And the very final thing that I want to touch on is, of course, the Sears Tower, aka the Willis Tower. Aka doesn't have a name anymore because the Willis Tower lost its naming rights. So what's the tower's name? We don't know. That was a tour guide gem that was dropped. Yeah. But we did the sky deck, and in the little city pass, it was the ledge specifically, which is like a glass thing that they built that kind of hangs on the side of the Sears Tower.
Yeah.
Walk me through tell me what's going on here. Also, you're not a big views man, so I was surprised you wanted to even go to the.
I like views. I enjoy a view.
Yeah, but you said that in your lying octave, though.
I enjoy views. Yeah, no, it's so the Sears Tower, which I think one of the cool things. At first, I was like, "This is kind of dumb," but then I thought about it more. I was like, "Oh, okay, no, it's actually kind of cool." To do the sky deck, kind of experience. You enter the Sears Tower, and then you go down. You go down to like the lower. I think it's like two floors down from the ground floor. Mm-hmm. It's like, L2 essentially. And I think that they do that because it's like sort of the full length of the building that you're taking the elevator on.
Yeah.
Now whether they need you to just like, they want to give that spiel to you because you step into the elevator, you go from L2 all the way to like 103. And the whole time you're in the elevator, they're like giving you a spiel about like what you're about to see. It's the Chicago Sears Tower for, years, for 25 years, it was the tallest building in the world and this, that, and the third and blah, blah, blah. And then we built the 103, the floor 103, where you can step out and overlook everything in the Chicago area. And then they open the door and a worker tells you, oh yeah, go around the corner to the left. And it all is cool. Once you get up there, there was a lot of people hanging out there. I don't know what was up with that. That was a little jarring to me.
They're enjoying the view,
I guess, but like, I thought I went up there expecting a more privatized session of 4103.
So you're like, what are all these broke people doing out there?
No, not saying that. Not saying that. But more just
Sorry,
like,
can you say what you're not saying so I can edit it later?
But more like, I thought it was gonna be like, you come in, there's like some photo opportunities, maybe some like informational kind of like things for you to like look over the city, and they give you maybe like a before and after of like what used to be here versus like what's here now as you like look out over the city. Obviously there, we pulled out our phones and took a couple cool photos and stuff of just like the landscape. And then you keep going around and then you get to like the ledge, the sky deck ledge part, which I don't know if is that what you expected it to be? Like what?
It is, but it was scarier than I thought it would be. Like the ledge it's a big chunk of glass, basically. It's like a glass window. It does have like, it's not like a full unobstructed view because it has like 3 like little lines, like black lines, which is kind of like, y'all can make like,
really? Oh, yeah, like a safety bar?
Maybe they're not black, but they're like it's not like when you look in the background of like my photos, you can see that there's like, a line, if that I don't know how else to describe that. It's like, it's not like you're just looking out of a window. It's like, you can see where they like where the glass connects, it's got like black little they kind of look like tape, but it's not tape. It's like, like little hinges
it's like
or something.
fasteners.
Yeah, like, so it's a bunch of like glass panels, and then on the below you is like a big chunk of glass. So that you look down and you see like the city. And bro, this was scary as fuck. Like, and I thought like, okay, I know what this is. Like, I'm not a big heights person, but I'm not a big scared of heights person. I'm kind of mixed. I would say I'm a little scared of heights because there are definitely times like in our life together where it's like, we've gone on hikes and I'm like, I'm too scared. Like, it just feels like I could fall off. Like, I guess really I'm scared of heights when it feels too much like I can fall off.
Yeah.
So if like the walkway's too narrow, I'm like, nah, I'm gonna slip, my ankle going to twist and I'm gonna hit my head, I'm gonna be dead. Like, like that kind of vibe. And yeah, just stepping out into it, I'm just like, oh my God, like there's like nothing underneath. I mean, again, there's a bunch of glass underneath it. Like, it's fine. But I'm like, and then I was thinking, I remember when this first dropped and they were like, hey, there's a crack in one of these ledges. I also, one thing I wasn't expecting is that they have so many ledges. I thought it was just one ledge.
Yeah, no, there was like
6 or something that you just like line up and go into. Yeah, and like I saw the girl before me, she like laid down to like get an overhead shot. And I'm like, I wish I had the guts to slay like that. I can't. Because you would see like pure fear. Like I feel like it felt like a punk version of Fear Factor. Like it's not even really that scary, but it felt like if they made Fear Factor for like scary ass bitches, the ledge would be on there because it's like it's not really scary, but like if you're a bitch, it's scary, and I'm a bitch. So I was like, okay, and I like knew I was a little bit of a bitch, but I thought like, oh, it's fine. It's a big glass box.
Yeah,
it's all good. But then, mind you, too, Isaiah said, I ain't stepping on that box. I said, why you got me on that?
I ain't stepping out on that ledge. I'm okay. I'm gonna look down it. I'm gonna look out from it.
It was scary.
But I ain't stepping on it.
So I was shocked by how scary it was because I didn't think I'd be scared at all. I'm like, I don't know, it's just a ledge, but like, and mind you too, when you have that video where they're talking about like, for many years we have built the tower to whatever. Nowhere in there they say, oh, the ledge is so secure. Like, I really wanted, I could have used a like, I needed some good, and I don't know if that would have made me not scared, but I would have loved some good facts like, the ledge can withstand a cajillion tons of weight over, whatever, like something. While it's see-through, you're actually looking through 1 mile long of glass. Like, it's not a mile, but like, I need like some reassuring facts.
As you look through 6 inches of hardened glass or something.
It's definitely more than 6 inches, but yeah, like whatever it is, right? Like, I could have used something. Like, I wanted a little something.
What they gave you?
They gave me nothing. Yeah. I stood on that ledge and I was picturing like MJ from the old Spider-Man movies fucking falling through the city.
Oh,
so
I
took a couple photos. I'll post them on it. So you can see the fear in my eyes if you look at my Instagram. But yeah, and that was that. Any other Chicago things you want to touch on before you give your like final Chicago thoughts?
The only thing I can think of, and really small because we didn't even really get to go in there. So the little U-Media
Oh yeah,
section
Harold
of
Washington Library. What did you think of Harold Washington?
I thought it was cool. It was a cool.
More heavy
it's
doors,
a big
but-
library, huge library. What was it, like 8 floors, and then like,
Something like that,
each
maybe
floor
9.
is like sizable.
Yeah.
Like, it could be a library, and it's like a normal library has that footprint of just one floor.
I died when we got to the first main section of like the main part of the library, and it's like more of the computer section. And Isaiah's like, "Y'all ain't got no books in this library."
Yeah,
I was like, "Whoa, we got like floors of books. Hold on, go up one more." Yeah, the U-Media, what Isaiah's referring to, it's I guess you'd call it maybe like a program or like a studio center. It's a center in the Harold Washington Library for teens. And it's really cool because I forgot this. It literally is for teens. Like you can't even go in there. I mean, you could probably walk in and they'd maybe say, "Oh, what do you need?" Like, and then you could leave because it's not for you. But it's literally like a teen only space. Like the only adults there are the people that like work there.
At the library. Yeah.
And you can do like a bunch of stuff. You can like make music. You can use like different like technologies they have there. Have your own kind of like reference desk. They also do like a lot of like student programming there. Like they have open mics there at U-Media. And U-Media is a big deal because, well, one, it just is, but two, I was telling Isaiah that like, oh, Chance, like I wouldn't say got his starts a little dramatic because I don't want to say like, oh, U-Media made him or something, but like when in his early days performing, he was at U-Media like performing, and that's how the reason a lot of people I know Chance is because he was like, he's in the music scene, that's next to the slam poetry scene, it's all like hip hop kind of vibe. So, yeah.
So that was cool.
Yeah.
Mr. U-Media.
What did you expect going into Chicago, and then what were your thoughts?
What did I expect? Going into Chicago, I expected to get like New York City. And what I got was more
We have New York at home.
elevated Buffalo.
Okay.
Like,
okay, I will take that.
If you took, because Buffalo itself is also, it's not Midwest, but it's like as far as Midwest you can get without being in the Midwest. Right before you hit, Ohio, Michigan, all that. It is like you said it before, and I say it again, and the third time I say it all the time. It's a big city, small town.
Yeah.
And it has that feel.
Yeah.
Like it feels like your neighbors when you're a part of a neighborhood, like the guys, the women, the shop owners, the kids, like
it's
you
cozy.
see people grow up and you know your community. And so, but at the same time, it is a world city. Like you have a fantastic public transit system. You have, you can get from one end of the city to the other city. You have theaters, you have huge libraries, you have museums, an international airport, multiple airports. Like you have all this stuff that makes a big city, but you have also still this like small town vibe throughout it. And the people are super nice. I wish the food was better. I wish I was more impressed by the food.
Yeah.
It's not that the food's bad. I just wasn't blown away by it. But the culture's there, the people are there, the city is there, like the architecture that we saw and everything like that, all cool. I am curious to see what a winter is actually like, having grown up in Buffalo. Like, is it comparable? Is it worse? Is it better? What have you? I'm
gonna do everything in my power that we never see that winter.
That's fair, I guess. Yeah,
I don't want to see Buffalo winter either.
That's fair.
I don't want to see any winter. I don't want to see any winter unless it's like, I don't know, we're going skiing and we're in a cabin.
Yeah.
It's like I want a bougie winter.
Yeah.
I don't want a city winter.
No, that's
but
fair.
Yeah, for me going back, it was interesting. It definitely, a lot of mixed feelings, I guess, in some ways. Like it was cool to definitely cool to show you around and everything. And there was, it was like a fun time packed with a lot of stuff. Definitely made me want to go out and build the knowledge that I have in Chicago in LA. I think we still have we have a couple things people come into town. Oh, I like going here, or I like this, or this is fun. But I feel like our repertoire is very small still because we don't go out that much. We haven't lived here that long. I lived in Chicago for 20 plus years kind of thing, and went to college for a bit. But I have a lot of knowledge, and I knew people that live there. So it's it's just a bigger tool set. So I'm excited to form that in LA, because I do feel like a lot of the stuff that I can find in Chicago, I can just also find in LA. And with the food, some stuff definitely still hit, obviously, but I did feel like, I guess what I realized in this trip is that the ceiling for Chicago might not be as high as I thought it was. Where like you'll get baseline like solid foods, sometimes even good foods. Like we had some good meals in Chicago. But when I think about like what I think of as like notable greatness now in food, it's like I think that bar is just higher than it used to be. While like, you know, here in LA, like we only have a couple places that are like this bangs, like bangers. And I feel like I not brought you to all bangers in my head, but like a lot of things I'm like, oh, this bangs. And I'm like, it doesn't bang, it's good.
Yeah.
But it doesn't bang.
Doesn't bang anymore.
Yeah. I'm like, this actually maybe, oh shit, never bang. Like I didn't know what a banger really was until like I ate some of these foods out here. And I think that's also part of why like it's been taking us so long to like have that definitive list where it's like we have like two things that, you know, I think like the food truck, the taco truck we go to and the breakfast spot we go to, it's like, okay, boom, like that bangers, love it. Everything else, it's like, there's a couple little asterisks. Still great meals. Like I've eaten a lot of great places, but it's like, yeah, I think it's just different. The bar is just different now.
Yeah.
Which maybe sounds snappy, but I don't know. It's true. So like, it's my truth. Yeah. You know, like what do we do? No, this is but yeah, like it was fun. It was cool. Pilsen still hits really hard. Like I love that neighborhood. It's really fun. Yeah. And it was also like nice to do, you know, what we call an adventure where it's like an active vacation is an adventure. It was nice to do one where I like know the city really well. Cause it's like, I just knew everything of what everything could be. Like, you know, where we might shop, where we might hang out, like what's there, the trains. Like it was very like easy to navigate and hang out and plan things. Cause I like knew everything. Which is kind of nice. I mean, obviously it's cool to see new places, but it was cool having that familiarity.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it'll be a good chunk till I'm back in Chicago again. I do have some family there, but it's not a setup where I'm like, oh, I go back every Christmas or anything like that. So I don't really have that at this point in Chicago. So I think it'll be quite a while till we go back. But I think what'll be fun about going back the next time is like now that we've done all this, we can do a couple other things that like we hadn't done. Like I talked to you about, you know, wanting to do I don't know if we officially decided we want to do the MLS thing, but like go to every MLS stadium. Like, okay, that could be a thing we do, and we can like save that and do some things that we didn't get to. And then maybe by then they'll have the cake in stock at Movie Tongue, and then I can see if it's good or not. So yeah, there's definitely still some fun to be had, but we've done a lot of the main hits. I feel like, you know, Chicago. I don't know if I want to say I know Buffalo. I know about some food in Buffalo, which I think Buffalo's mostly like food. Yeah,
that's fair.
I didn't get the like sense that you were like, this is a great neighborhood to walk around in, you know, kind of vibe. Like you didn't seem to have like zones in Buffalo as much as like food.
If we're gonna be known for something in Buffalo, I think I'd sign up for the food.
Yeah, the food is good. I enjoyed the food a lot. All right. Moving on to close out with the poll of the show. So this is another week where we are skipping the poll of the show results because we are recording in like a funky order of like, I don't even know where we are in the timeline at this point, but like we are trucking ahead and that's all that matters. But we still will have a poll of the show. As usual, the poll of the show, you can head over to Twitter. It's our pinned tweet under the handle Games and Not. And this week we were asking, how often do you go back to your hometown? Your options are never left, once a year or more, every few years, and haven't been back. So yeah, let us know what the vibe is. Feel free to, you know, editorialize in the replies if you'd like to. That's it for this week. You can send your questions and topics to the email inbox@gamesandnotgames.com. You can follow the podcast version of the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, and everywhere else you get your podcast. If you enjoy the show, be sure to give us that 5-star rating.
And if you're an audio listener, remember that you can get the video version of the show on YouTube at Games and Not Games. If you like the video, be sure to leave us a like as it helps us get in front of more people. Give us a follow over on social media. We're on Twitter /X at Games and Not, and everywhere else at Games and Not Games. It's Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, Twitch, etc. And until next time, gang gang.
Gang gang.
Peace.